the tape, let's grind. Shut up. The tape, let's grind. The tape. We do it a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play, shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense, hunker down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Found guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back, like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do it a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play, shut up and grind the tape.
The tape.
We ain't gonna play, them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. The tape. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You like that? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the Film Guy Network, brought to you by our friends over at Better on what is a very, very fine Wednesday evening. It is Wednesday. That means we got What If Wednesday. We're going to fire a coach today. We're going to fire a coach. Maybe multiple. We're going to fire some football coaches today. We have week 6 superlatives coming to you guys. We're going to predict some of the best players, best performances that are on the horizon this weekend. We're going to take a peek. Love take a peek every single week. Somebody moving out of a weekly take a peek status and going into premiere status this week.
Ooh,
yep,
really?
Big time news today on the show. Texas A&M out here playing some games, some semantic games, as the man Eli Drinkowitz called it today. Duce Knight made some major recruiting news today as well with a flip from Notre Dame to Auburn. But I want to open with this, boys. It's come to my attention that people don't really know us. Even our listeners, because we've had such tremendous growth. We've had 10,000 new subscribers on this network in the last 100 days. We've had a tremendous amount of growth. And, someone commented last night on our show, quote, "I don't even know Buddy's name. I just call him the Film Guy." Because they don't know who we are. They're brand new to the network. They found us, the algorithm. Luckily, thank the Lord above. Thank the YouTube gods. They put us in front of these folks, and they don't really know who we are. So I'm going to take some time to be a little self-indulgent here and introduce ourselves a little bit more than, hey, I'm the Film Guy, Director of Recruiting. Here's my takes. Listen to me, okay? Let's get to know each other just a little bit. I'm Brooks Austin. I am indeed the Director of Recruiting for SI. I'm also the lead editor for Bulldogs on SI. That's our Georgia website over there. I spent 19 seasons playing football. I think when I was a big meathead and I was really, really large on this network at 295, I don't think people questioned that as much as they do nowadays. Hey, who's this eyeglass-wearing nerd talking football? I played 19 seasons, the last 5 of those in Division II football. And I'm going to tell you right now, anybody who plays Division II ball, they love that shit. They love that. That is an addiction. They are there when they probably should be going and getting a better degree somewhere else. But we spent 5 years playing college football, and luckily we were able to pursue and obtain a master's degree in business while doing so. Got into the business workforce and realized very, very quickly, gentlemen, I wasn't going to be able to pursue that with the ultimate passions that a person like me needs to in order to keep myself out of trouble. So very early on in that career field in business, I decided, you know what, we're going to start freelancing. I took every freelance gig I possibly could from 2017 to 2019. I was hosting my own podcast that nobody listened to. I was covering the NFL draft for articles that nobody read. I was doing every single freelance opportunity I could possibly get until SI came around and knocked on my doorsteps and said, hey, we'll give you the opportunity to cover a beat, and we're going to pay you. And I thought, oh my God, you're going to pay me to cover sports? I've been doing this for 2 years now, really, really hard, and ain't made a dime. So I jumped right on it and started doing that in March of 2019, and obviously have grown a tremendous amount since then, both from a digital standpoint on social media. Also, obviously, our website has grown tremendously, and then we ventured into the YouTube space. And in January of 2022, I was lucky enough to finally quit my day job and turn this into my full-time career. So that's where we are here now. And now we're attempting to continue to grow what we've got going, particularly in the Georgia space, but also venture in, because I think we do it well enough around here, venture into that national space, in that national college football, territory, if you will. I've turned down opportunities to kind of maintain what we got going on while also attempting to really push into that national scene. And I think, guys, we're on that top growth, right? I think we're seeing that peak finally. So that's who I am. The number one question I get all the time is, who are you a fan of? Who are you a fan of? Boys, who am I a fan of?
Good football team.
Good football. I am a fan of good football. And if you enjoy the energy around this, that's where it comes from. Okay, I love what I do, and I sure as hell love this round ball that is football. That's me. These guys are my executive producers. They originally started as writers for me and worked for a good amount of time. And eventually came over. Do you want me to do this for you, or do you want to do this?
I want to see what you have to say about it.
All right, so here's how this goes down. My man Jay Will wrote for me for about 18 months.
Yeah.
By 18 months. And I was watching some of his work that he was doing by himself. A podcast you got with, Bo Wallace just followed me. That ought to be interesting. I noticed Jonathan was doing some independent, podcast stuff with Jeremiah Stoddard. And I thought, for the longest time, I was an individual on this network. I did all this stuff solo. All the content was all me. And it was very, very lonely, right? Very, very lonely. So I've realized very early on that Jonathan had some on-air talents and some on-air abilities. So eventually knew I was going to find a role for him. My man Kirby, I actually met him. I was looking for new interns. I was up at UGA looking for some new folks to start writing for our website. And Kirby introduced himself after the class that I was at that day, observing, and said that, I've been watching your stuff. Do you have anything at all that you might want to allow me to help you out with? And I allowed him to start, writing for me. And then I specifically remember I brought you to the G-Day event at Creatures Conference. And I put you on that Logitech. It's not that one. It was a much smaller version. And I just said, hey, if you feel like we need to move. And if anybody who's ever worked for me, you'll understand, I don't hold hands. There's none of that. It's here, go swim. And you immediately swam. So I was like, all right, this guy's obviously very, very talented. Had no idea what you'd be like in front of a microphone, but you've grown. You've grown into a really, really talented on-air personality, and obviously you're really good at that camera.
Oh,
you're
thanks,
really,
man.
really good at that camera.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, a little self-indulgence to start the show.
Very nice.
Yeah. Do you guys care to take a shot? Did I hit it? I think I covered it.
No, you did good.
Both UGA grads. So if you're looking for the homers on this network, right there.
It's true.
Yeah. So there we go. Welcome in. We got a great show for you guys tonight. Super excited to be here. First and foremost, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Better.
My God.
Hey man, don't doubt the sheet, baby. The sheet is the sheet. The sheet is out here. out here delivering every
Laminated
single
or
week.
something.
Hey, did you know that Better Now offers college football props? All you got to do, guys, is enter more than or less than key stats on college football players. You can play in 23 states, including the fine state of Georgia. Better is now matching first-time deposits up to $250 if you use promo code Brooks. All right, or click the link in the description today. You should probably use promo code Brooks anyways. Shout out to those guys over at Better. We do have a Better play coming up for you guys this week. I think I'm 3-2 on those. I don't know if I hit last week. I got to check.
I don't know.
No, I took Beck overs and Milrow overs, did I?
Was that all you took?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
hit
hit
the
it.
bag. Absolutely. We're 4-1 on Better, so we'll see if we can go to 5-1, maybe even 6-1. Might get 2 plays in this week. All right. Appreciate you guys being here today. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribing, rating, and reviewing. Boys, I do want to take a quick minute to just kind of acknowledge the growth. It has been nice over the last.
It's been fast.
I mean, dude, the last 28 days, it's been 5,000 new subscribers on this network. Some are saying hottest show on the internet. Some are saying. I don't know.
Allegations might be true.
Yeah, not definitely true allegations right there. So yeah, we're.
I wouldn't
a
push
rocket
back
ship.
on him.
Huh?
I wouldn't push back on
No,
him.
not at all. I think what did we start at last season? 12,000.
I think it was like maybe right at the cusp of 13.
We were just over 10. I know that.
Yeah, no, we're on the move. All right, only up from here. We up. What if Wednesday? Let's get after. Actually, let's attack this Duce Night news. This was huge. Consider all that's been going on with Auburn as of late in terms of the lack of momentum out there on the football field. They have been able to recruit under Hugh Freeze, and we've talked about that on this network for quite some time. Duce Night flips from Notre Dame to Auburn. This is a big one, guys. This is probably definitely a top 3, maybe top 5 quarterback in this class. This is huge.
It's a shame that it almost feels like it doesn't move the needle at all.
Why is that?
Just because of everything that has happened with Auburn. Like, who knows where this program is going to be at the end of the season? And I think also after looking at how this offense is ran, I think Duce Knight is absolutely talented enough to do everything that Hugh Freeze would want a quarterback to do in his offense. I think it would certainly open up some other things for them. But Hugh Freeze also recruited really well this last cycle.
You got that post-film study glaze on you right now. That's what you
Glaze?
got.
I don't know if it's glaze, but
No, you got that look on your face of I just watched how hard it is to play quarterback in Auburn's
definitely that.
offense. That's what
Yes,
you look like
absolutely.
you got going on. I think this guy is an immense talent. I thought Ole Miss was going to flip him there for a little bit. You know, he's from Mississippi. Obviously, I was pretty positive that Notre Dame wasn't going to hold on to him after what's been going on up there. But I think realistically, Hugh Freeze just bought the blowback from what was going to happen. All the hopefulness is still there. Now Auburn fans could just look at it and go, hey, guys, who cares? We might go 6-6 this year, but or fight to go 6-6. We might go 6-6 this year, but who cares? We got the number 3 recruiting class in the
Our
country.
guys coming in next year.
Yeah. We're just 1 year away. They're going to be here.
Cam Coleman, Duce Knight.
Yeah, Cam Coleman, Duce Knight, and my man Simpson, the other freshman that was the highest rated freshman in the
Isaiah, I
SEC
wanna
this
say?
year. Huh?
Isaiah, I want to say.
I want to say Malcolm Simmons.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know, I think that's one thing that has gotten way better. Our name recognition. I'm not going, Ashton Genty, who the f is that?
Buddy from
You
San
know?
Jose State.
Yeah, well, no, Buddy from San Jose State's
He's
going to
always
stay Buddy
Buddy
from San
from
Jose
San Jose
State.
State.
Yeah, no, he's stuck there. No, this is massive recruiting momentum, and this is a guy in high school that's his legs have been really, really impressive, but the development as a passer, this is one of the more accurate and quicker releases I've seen on a lefty in quite a long time. I saw him at the Elite 11. You guys didn't have the opportunity to do so. So long. This dude's limbs are longer than any quarterback I've seen that has this quick of a motion. It's very, very fluid. There's no stiffness to this for a guy who's probably by the time he's done playing college football going to be 6'5". All right, he's already north of 6'4", and I don't think he's done growing either based off the arm length.
I think at the very least that this is great news for Hugh Freeze and Auburn because, like you mentioned, regardless of what this season ends up being and what the outcome is, there is that bright spot at the end of the tunnel. There is a better outlook for the next season. There is something you can kind of attach this year to and attach the fan base to as well to keep it moving forward, maybe not hinder so much on what the past looks like.
Is there any worry coming into this with Auburn fans? Because a lot of things have been said about the way Hugh Freeze handles the quarterback position, and there's been some data coming out that might suggest that it's not necessarily super easy. So the idea that, Duce Knight's going to come in here in 2025 and absolutely light it up, is that maybe being hesitant for a couple of fans, or
No, I don't. I think they see 5-star and it's all promising and hopeful. And to the credit, Malik Willis is the best quarterback he's ever had, right?
Yeah.
By far. And in Power 5 football, he's never had anyone the caliber of Duce Knight. So
this is true.
Whatever the history, and it's daunting. I shouldn't say daunting. It doesn't look great, the statistical history of quarterback play and turnover play as a whole under Hugh Freeze. But this is the highest quality quarterback he's ever landed, assuming he gets him to signing day, which you would imagine he will, unless he gets fired, which he's not getting fired.
he won't get fired.
There's no way. You can't. No. Top 3 recruiting class. And that's what these guys get cooked for if they start losing. It's when they start losing the recruiting momentum. Watch out for Mike Norvell down there if guys start bailing left and right on his recruiting classes. If it looks like he's not getting any momentum on the recruiting trail, he's going to have to start firing assistant coaches. And then after you fire assistant coaches, we've talked about this on this network, once you fire OCs, once you fire DCs, once you fire position coaches, hey, there's only so many fingers left on the hand, and most of them are pointing back at you. You're the last one to take the L on that. So, yeah, Duce Knight, huge addition to that Auburn class. Let's get into it.
Should we talk about the inverse of this as to what does it do for Notre Dame?
Oh, man.
I mean, things aren't looking great right now. Now, I get it. They're a top 15 team at the moment, but this was kind of a big recruit for Marcus.
You know, I think this is a byproduct of, especially nowadays, when they had 22 commits in January. You're opening yourself up for nothing but poaching. You know what I mean? Now, that's just, you can get poached whenever. If Duce Knight had committed to Notre Dame 2 months ago, though, does this happen now or does this happen closer to signing day? That's the question.
Yeah, and it's probably more impactful when the closer to signing day it is.
For sure.
And I think we kind of said this when we looked at Notre Dame's recruiting class. I think it was in the month of June, and it was like, whoa, Notre Dame, top 5 recruiting class. And our point was, well, it can only go down from here, it feels like. Your class is almost tied to a knot, and so it's either only going to get worse or people are just going to pass you up. And it's doing a little bit of both right now.
Now, I will say this. Chat hits on a good point here. They did sign Lloyd Carr's son or grandson a class ago. So he's a freshman up there now. I do think he's really, really talented. I think they think he's going to be something for that football program. But, yeah, they were certainly putting a lot of eggs, you would imagine, in the Duce Knight basket. But it doesn't sound like they're up a creek without a paddle. Should we get into What If Wednesday?
I love it.
It's a big one. It is a Wednesday. And let me ask you this, guys. And I'm going to poop on the schedule real quick.
No.
Yep. I'm going to do it. What if there's ne'er a good game this weekend? Like not a one. And here's why. Here's why I think this is a possibility. 6 of the top 25 teams this weekend that play are 20-point favorites. 5 more top 25 teams are favored by 10 plus. So that means 11 of the top 25 teams that are playing this weekend. 11 of the 18 that are playing this weekend, because 7 more have a bye week, are favored by more than 10 points. What we are looking at in terms of the college football slate this weekend, in terms of the top 25 football teams, we're praying that 3 matchups give us a really good football game. Ole Miss at South Carolina, it's a 9-point spread. Michigan at Washington. Washington, a 2.5-point favorite in that football game. And a Friday night matchup between, of course, the top 25 matchup, Syracuse at UNLV. UNLV, the ranked opponent in this one. So, yeah, those 3 football games are the only top 25 opponents that are playing this weekend within a 10-point spread.
If that happens, if all of those games are blowouts, it would be one of the most rare instances of college football I've ever seen in my lifetime. Anytime you come into these types of weeks where you look at it, it's like, oh, there's not really a good game on the schedule here. These should all be blowouts. This team should handle this team. You always get surprised. I called it sneak week this week because of that very reason. There's not really a game on here where you go, hey, this will be interesting to watch. This should be close. There will be a top 10 team that loses this week. Mark my words.
Yeah, I think that we said the same, or we were of the belief during week 2 when everybody was saying, oh, sleep on the slate, this week sucks. There's a bunch of nobodies playing in week 2, ended up being incredible. There's good games on the entire day. So while it may not end up being your top 25 matchups, it may not be Ole Miss, South Carolina that turns into a great game, there's going to be something on TV. It may not even be all day, but there's going to be good games spread out throughout the entire day.
College football always delivers.
Too much unpredictability.
ADD brain coming out. You played more than Stetson, says James Richards in the chat. I just checked. Stetson Bennett played in 42 games at the University of Georgia. Ironically enough, I played in 42 games at Shorter University. I started 37. I don't know how many Stetson started.
He started like 32, 34.
So I got him. Suck it.
Get that old man out of football.
I don't know why I felt the need to do that.
Are you
Actually,
counting
I do.
Are you
I know
counting
exactly
the JUCO
why.
games though?
Oh, no. JUCO games, if they count, he's definitely got me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got me. He's got a whole nother 13 on that, or 10. They might have played 10 in JUCO. So, yeah, he played more college football than me. Good on him. Slightly better
Made it
career.
count.
Slightly better
Neck
career.
and neck, but I got to give
just
Stetson
by a
an edge.
Give him an
nudge. Just by a nudge. What do you guys got on what ifs?
What if UNLV beats Syracuse? What does that mean for Matthew Slucka? Because that'd be like, let's say UNLV's quarterback lights it up again, because he played really well last weekend. UNLV overall played really well last weekend. And then they go and play Syracuse, a Power 4 football team. They beat them. They continue to keep their playoff hopes alive. I feel like that kind of decreases his stock or like whatever he's searching for now, entering the portal, looking for a redshirt year.
Slucka going to end up at Shorter.
Dang.
No, I mean, it would be a bad look. It'd be a really, really bad look for him. A great look for Barry Odom for standing 10 toes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a really bad look if they pull up the – what do you play, 3 or 4 games?
Who's Slucka? He played 3.
If they pull up the 3-game stretch of, his backup and it's already – the numbers are better in every category, that's a really, really bad look for you. And, oh, by the way, UNLV's thriving even more. Not a great
And by the way, they don't have a shitty backup. This is a sixth-year college football player coming from HBCU that started multiple years in the HBCU, in the SWAC. So it's a guy that's got a lot of experience and is really, really athletic and might do very, very similar things to what Slucka was doing for them. Slucka was their primary ball carrier. This guy is a very similar skill set, in my opinion, from what I've seen in highlights and on tape. So we'll see what happens this weekend. What if Iowa forces Will Howard to beat them this weekend? And here's why I think this. I don't think this is a what if. I think this is going to happen. Check this out. Why did I just see it breaking? Let me make sure. Georgia will be without Smile Mondon versus Auburn. I guess the injury reports just hit, boys. Will we take a look at those?
Yep.
We'll talk about that in the local hour and circle back around that as SEC injury reports are coming in right now.
Yes, he's listed as out.
All right, he is indeed listed as out on the SEC media reports. Does it say why?
No, it just says out.
All right, we'll circle back, like I said, on that when we get to the local hour. Guys, Iowa is allowing just 2.7 yards per carry right now. They're an absolute unit against the run. Minnesota scored 2 touchdowns last week in that matchup between Iowa and Minnesota. On those 2 scoring drives, Minnesota was forced to throw the football on 13 of 15 plays. 13 of 15 plays on the only 2 scoring drives in the entire football game for that team. They had to do it via the air the entire time. I think that's exactly what's going to happen this weekend. I think Iowa's going to dedicate a lot of bodies to the box, and they're going to say, all right, Will Howard, all right, wide receiver core that we know is great. We're going to strap you up with some Iowa DBs.
Yeah, I mean, that would certainly be kind of the supposed avenue to try to beat an Ohio State team because you don't want to let them run all over you. You want to load that box as much as you can. You want to force Will Howard's arm to beat you. I still think Ohio State handles that game. I think Will Howard is underrated as a quarterback. I don't think he's anything world beater-wise. I don't think he's a Heisman contender, but I think he's capable of beating Iowa.
Imagine not being a subscriber to the anti-Will Howard deep state.
I'm not, man. I think he's fine.
Imagine. Couldn't be me, bro. Could not be me. What if Ashton Jeanty goes for 300 yards this weekend?
He might just be back up in the keep climbing.
Another one. These aren't what ifs. These are almost predictions for me, by the way, at this point. Utah State is allowing 5.1 yards per carry right now on the ground. They're allowing 198 yards per game right now on the ground. And they're about to face an absolute wagon named Ashton Jeanty. Give me 30 totes for Jeanty for his typical average of 10.3 yards per tote. Give me 310 yards for the Jeanty man this weekend.
Wow.
An absolute wagon.
I like it.
Here's one. What if DJU was the problem at Florida State, and this Saturday Florida State gives Clemson
Shocks
a
the world.
run for their money? Doesn't even have to beat them. Just make it a very competitive game.
I would be staring at Mike Norvell hella weird, hella sus as a Florida State fan. I'd be
Staring
looking
at
him
that
like,
booster group too.
Nah. I'd be staring that head coach right in the eye, be like, what did you see for 4 weeks? Five games, they're 1-4. What did you see for that entirety of practice to make you think that this guy wasn't the answer? I think there would be the immediate overreaction on that one. Both of you guys are typing, so I'm going to keep going. Audience, what if Oregon is clicking? What if Oregon's out here figuring it out? Check this out. And particularly defensively. Offensively, they had guys running open. It was a matter of executing. We told you that early on in the year for this Oregon football team. But check this out. Last week, they beat UCLA, I think, 38-13, something like that. All right, but defensively, listen to this. UCLA had a 97-yard touchdown pass. One big explosive, boom, hit him right in the head, touchdown, okay? Outside of that accounted for more than 50% of the total yardage Oregon allowed in this entire football game. One play, the rest of the game, Loctite. All right, so I think, honestly, and they allowed a 57-yard field goal. Those were the other points in this football game. I think we've got a showdown on the way, guys, in 2 weeks. After this team gets a bye week, Ohio State gets a bye week, they both meet up in Autzen. Going to be a top 5 matchup, maybe a top 7 matchup, wherever Oregon ends up at that point. But I think that's going to be an absolute battle up there. My other what if, while you guys are still doing your thing, what if Arkansas threatens a shootout up there in Little Rock between them and Tennessee?
When you say threatens a shootout, what do you mean by that?
Maybe it's a 49-35 football game. I'm saying Tennessee handles it, but there's a lot of points, and there's a lot of, explosives from Arkansas. Maybe they crawl back at one point, and then, Tennessee gets the ball back and finishes with a 2-score lead, but it threatens into a shootout. By the way, I don't think this is going to happen, but what is Twitter saying if this is the case?
I think the Tennessee fan takeaway from that is
we let him back in. We took our foot off the gas.
Not even that. God, look at how good our offense is. Look at how good Nico is. He controlled this game the entire time. We never wavered. We never had a problem even handling this team. The rest of the Twitter world is going to be, this Tennessee defense isn't as amazing as we thought it was, and there's points to be had on them. And they perhaps a better team with a more equipped offense like a Georgia, like an Alabama can get them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is people are going to be telling you, I told you so about Tennessee's defense and that they haven't been tested yet, and then Arkansas comes in there, Taylor Green, a quarterback that has propensity to make explosive plays, went and got him. So people are going to be saying, Tennessee defense, fraudulent. That's what they were saying.
That's really what I wanted to fish out of you guys. You want to hand me your notes and I'll do your what-ifs?
Well, okay, apparently Ole Miss has 25 players on the injury report right now.
I love this. This is semantics.
So that's a classic. But anyways.
How many of them are listed as questionable?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 12.
By the way, I told you this was going to happen, and I don't know why people didn't. I don't know why Vegas didn't see this coming. Why Vegas didn't think that football coaches were just going, pardon my language, fuck with you. Like, this is all they're doing with this injury report. You've held their hand to it. You forced them to do it. And now you're at their mercy. They can look at you and go, everyone's questionable. Everyone's a game-time decision. Why? We don't have to tell you. We can list ankle. We can do whatever. You're putting this at the mercy of these guys as opposed to just, trying to figure it out on your own, making the media ask these guys questions weekly. I don't even know why we ask the questions anymore to these coaches because they have to give this to us. They do the reporting for us. Now we can do what these guys are doing right now. Look at the SEC media report and then turn around and run the report for it. They're doing the reporting for you. I don't know why they didn't why anyone didn't foresee that this was just going to be SEC football coaches out here messing with you because you made them do it. Great. Gambling gets advice. And great. What I didn't understand prior to this, and if you can't tell, I'm filling here. What I didn't tell prior to this, okay, is that, Vegas and these bookmakers were out here texting, DMing, bothering, calling, finding, running up on college football players, asking if they're healthy. That was something that came out of this from Kirby Smart talking about it. He said, hey, man, like, as long as this gets our kids, it gets people to leave our kids alone with regards to these injuries and trying to dig up questions and information about their injuries, I'm all here for it. That was wild to me. Now, I've heard stories like the Vanderbilt capologist and cap superstar saying that he was approached by a mafioso in the middle of a Nashville bar. Straight cap. No, you weren't third string quarterback nobody's heard of. No, not the case. I'd heard about, stories like that, but this is an SEC football coach telling you that he's got Vegas folks digging up, information and digging up phone calls on his football players. That, to me, was a little bit wild on this situation.
Do you think that's more gamesmanship, or is that more I'm fighting off the Vegas guys trying to get their stakes?
Do I think this coach's it's 100% gamesmanship? This is, you're making me do this? Watch this.
Yeah.
It's 100% what it is. I would imagine some of the less less rambunctious coaches aren't fucking with this. Will you go look at what Clark Lee's doing? Does Clark Lee got 27 guys on his injury report? I highly doubt it. I bet Clark Lee's taking this serious.
Here's the funny thing. Vanderbilt has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players. Bama has just 2.
Okay, so Kalen DeBoer ain't out here fucking with this neither. He's reporting it real.
That's right. Going back on that Ole Miss thing, here's a good what if. What if this front 7 gives Jackson Dart fits the entire game, like is constantly in his face, constantly giving him problems, constantly pressuring him, constantly making contact with him. Might not be sacking him, but forcing him to get the ball out of his hands quickly.
One more time. Sorry, I'm reading a DM.
No, you're good. What if this front 7 for South Carolina is constantly in Jackson Dart's face all game?
Oh, it's a solid possibility. I mean, if there's one thing Lane has not done is recruit offensive linemen. Has Lane ever had a first-round offensive lineman?
Oh,
no, because
yes.
Laramie
No.
Tunsil wasn't
Laramie wasn't.
There was another one I was trying to think of, but I don't think he was a first-round pick.
I can't think of one.
I mean, he definitely didn't have one at FAU.
No.
Right? Definitely didn't
not.
have one during the tarmac session out there at USC.
No.
Definitely didn't have one at Tennessee. Definitely hasn't had one right now at Ole Miss.
No.
Not that I can think of.
A little fun fact for you, just right off the top of the head. What other what ifs we got?
What if Miami struggles again this week? Because they're only 10-point favorites over UCLA.
I'll be
Cal.
Or Cal, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll be selling them as. I mean,
Oh, we're good. Well, we haven't given them life yet. Yeah, we haven't given them life yet. Can we kill them before we give them life?
Sure you can.
For
I
the
think we
national
have
title
to. I
hopes?
mean, I think just by proxy they have life because they're in the ACC. Someone from that conference has to make it out, and you have to venture to say that you got a lot of bugs over there.
Yeah, I do.
You'd have to venture and
I
guess
think
that
it's the same one.
he's invincible.
Yeah.
You'd have to say that Miami's probably the one team in the ACC, with the exception of maybe Clemson, that could even have a chance at making a run in the playoffs. So.
You going to count any of the guys when he was at Bama? No, because he wasn't the one deciding the recruiting strategies. Nick Saban was. All right? Once you become a head coach, you get to decide where the resources go. All right? Especially now more than ever. This is the blowback on Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley's defenses the first couple years were relatively decent. You know why? Because Bob Stoops actually cared about recruiting that side of the ball. So when he took it over, they were pretty good. So no, I don't accredit Lane Kiffin with first-round draft picks that Nick Saban landed and recruited and signed. And also, I believe that was the time when Brent Key was the offensive line coach over there at Alabama. And anything regards to offensive line, if Brent Key's involved, he gets 100% of the credit. So there we go.
Yeah. My final what if is, what if Alabama goes into Vanderbilt
Don't do this.
and their offense just kind of
do this.
gets stonewalled?
By what? Don't do this.
Who knows? What
Don't do
if?
this.
What if it happens?
It's impossible they laid rat traps all over the facility.
Oh, I loved that.
You loved that.
kind of corny.
Sarcastic. Very
Pretty
sarcastic. That's a little too corny for my liking.
Corny
Yeah,
Kalen.
avoid the rat poison this weekend, boys. Gotta.
Corny Kalen.
And by the way, you don't put poison on the rat traps. You put cheese on the rat
Yeah,
traps. Butter,
exactly.
peanut butter. You put food on there. You don't put poison on there. So you're not avoiding the rat poison. You're avoiding the rat traps. But they did say trap game. So this is new. This is new Bama spin. You know what I mean? This isn't avoiding the rat poison. This is watch out for the trap game.
He's putting his own twist on the program.
Hey man, whatever it takes. I bet this was a tip from the. I saw you leave the camera on your head nod there. That was nice. I totally forgot what I was about to say, just because you distracted me. I was wanting to give you some credit there.
Oh, thanks, man.
It'll come back to me.
Give
You
it
got
about,
any more what ifs?
Give it about 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I had what if Taylor Green outduels Nico, but Tennessee still wins. Kind of the adverse of that, where it's.
I mean, this is plausible.
Yeah.
This is 100% plausible with the way that they run the football and play defense. Does Tennessee? This is 100% plausible. Dylan Sampson can run all over these guys for 210 yards. They score 48 points, and now all of a sudden, Taylor Green's playing from behind, throws for 360, turns it over twice. And it looks like on stat sheets he out-threw Nico.
Right.
And the highlights look a little bit more, daunting than Nico. This is going to be a tall, skinny, slender, athletic off right here between these two quarterbacks.
Slenderman off.
A slender off. You got any what ifs for me? I know you're still working over there.
Yeah, I just finished up actually.
Atta boy.
The only other one that I had is if Ole Miss does lose this weekend, what does that mean for Lane Kiffin? Because I actually asked one of the few Florida fans that I know.
You know a Gator fan, huh?
Do you still want Lane Kiffin as your head coach after he lost to Kentucky? Because there was this massive wave of momentum of, Lane Kiffin looks like one of these names that he turned Ole Miss around. Looks like he turned him into a national title contending football program. Well, then Lane Kiffin showed what Lane Kiffin is, lost a game that he shouldn't have. And so I was like, do you still want Lane Kiffin? And it seems like that one's kind of simmered down now. So my whole thing is, if he loses this weekend, are people still saying like, Lane Kiffin, Florida, that's who needs to go there?
I think the narrative might just be, Lane Kiffin's checked out on this Ole Miss team. He's already looking for Florida. I think it's kind of what you've seen a little bit of what happened with Kentucky. It was like, his mind's already in Gainesville. I don't know if I buy it.
I'm not allowing that. That whole football game, when an opponent holds the ball for 38 minutes, you have to start your analysis with they executed today. They beat our butt at the line of scrimmage. They beat us. Okay, that was what happened there. Because I got asked about this today. Oh, did Lane Kiffin show up flat? What's going on with the offense? Yada yada. The problem was Kentucky executed their game plan, and they scored in the red zone. So start with credit first before we do the Lane wasn't ready. Lane wasn't ready. Kentucky was more ready. You know what I mean? Well, I want to do it that way before we do it the other way. Now, kill Lane Kiffin. Go ahead, crush him.
You want him dead?
Stab him.
No, I mean just crush him. Jesus.
Kill Lane Kiffin.
Hey, it is spooky season.
It is Halloween season.
It is spooky season.
So you're if that happens, then you would kill the Lane Kiffin to Florida?
No, I think Lane Kiffin will be one of the best available candidates that will want to take that job. Right?
Yeah, I mean, especially if it doesn't work out at Ole Miss this year like they were hoping it would.
Yeah.
Every more of the reason to jump ship and go somewhere else.
Who knows? Maybe Billy gets him on the right track, saves his job.
You don't believe that.
You don't believe that at all.
You never know. We're firing coaches later today, so we might see him just in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, considering you went through the rundown, I think we know if you believe that or not.
Hey, Rudy's got a great point in the chat. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button for us. Any more what-ifs?
That's all I got.
All right. Hey, have you seen this semantics game that Texas A&M's out here playing with their quarterback?
No.
What's that?
So you know Marcel Reed started the last 3 football games for them, right? Mm-hmm. And you know Marcel Reed's 3-0 in his last 3 football games as a starting quarterback. Did you know that Connor Weigman is currently listed as their starter in the depth chart? If you want to talk about messing with shit.
Classic.
Yeah. And Eli Drinkowitz was asked about this today, and he said, quote, "That's just semantics. At this point, that guy's 3-0 as the starter. I don't see them going back," meaning don't see them going back to Weigman. Also went on to say that the system is already completely different than what they were doing. He actually stopped himself. He goes a little bit different, and then he stopped himself, goes, no, it's completely different than what they've been doing offensively. Moving the quarterback, moving the launch point a whole lot more, and said that they see – he didn't say this. I'll say this. They're a much better offense right now with Marcel Reed. They have more options and more availabilities to hide their deficiencies. He said they're fully preparing for Marcel Reed to be the starter on Saturday.
Shocking that Connor Weigman is not in the transfer portal already.
Yeah.
What's he holding on to at this point?
Maybe he's holding on to the fact that Marcel Reed is still 185 pounds soaking wet. Maybe that's what he's holding on to. And by the way, Marcel Reed's questionable this week. I think he's going to play. I think he's definitely going to play, but he did get kind of banged up in that game last week.
So hoping maybe he could get some more tape, then he can jump off ship.
Maybe, I don't know, but he's definitely jumping ship. I don't think there's any doubt they're moving forward with Marcel Reed.
And this is such a roundabout thing to do, and I would never expect a college coach to do this, but does this now provide an incentive for A&M to maybe create a couple of drives with Connor Weigman? Because Drink just basically told you that we haven't paid any attention to what their packages look like with Connor Weigman because we believe Marcel Reed is the guy they're going with.
The moment Weigman comes out there, I know you're either running the ball or throwing it. Mm-hmm. There's no
there's not much else you can do.
No, you can run RPOs with Marcel Reed.
Okay, I'm running or throwing. That's what I'm getting at.
And the quarterback's legs are now a threat with Marcel Reed. Like, I know when Connor Weigman comes out there, he's either handing it off or he's taking a traditional drop back right where he's at. Mm-hmm. That's what I meant by that. He's running or they're running or he's throwing. There's no in-between with that deal there. I wonder if I'm Connor Weigman, certainly if I'm his agent, he's not dressing out. You're not going to have the opportunity. We took the medical last year if we needed it, and we're taking the red shirt this year. It's very clear to me we are not a 3-and-done prospect. We're going to need a couple more years starting somewhere else. You're not playing the rest of the year, buddy. No way. I don't care. Sorry, love your teammates. This is where I'm coming. This is where you committed to, all that nonsense. No, they moved on. I'm moving on. All right, it's time to be a little bit selfish here with these quarterbacks, I would imagine. That's what the agent is telling this guy right now. There's no way you're going out there and burning shirt. They can play the other guy.
Yeah, Marcel Reed went down. Go hiding.
That's what I'm saying. You're not dressing out. You're not dressing out. Sorry. It's just not happening. I had this situation play out in my career. My freshman year, back in my freshman year, if you played one snap, it was over with. Period.
Oh, yeah.
The moment you run out there, over with. And we didn't blow a lot of teams out. But we blew one team out my freshman year. And the second half, I left my helmet in the locker room. I straight up told Coach, I'm not doing it. I can't. I'm sorry. I'd rather get a master's degree on your dime.
Nice.
And not use it. Have it sit in the corner of my studio that I'm going to build in my mom's
Did
basement.
the coach respect that?
No. Did not like that, but he understood. It's a personal decision. It's business.
Yeah.
It's business.
Business.
Absolutely business. There's another storyline with Marcel Reed in this football game. Did you know that Marcel Reed's sister is the director of on-campus recruiting for Missouri? She has been removed from all practices this week to avoid any potential tampering with the Missouri roster.
College football's the best, dude.
Isn't it, though?
There's no other sport where that's going to go down, where the sister of the quarterback on the opposing team can't be around the program because she might tell the other quarterback what the plays they're doing. It's so funny. Now, I get it with all the Connor Stalions things that happened last year, but the amount of steps they're taking, I think you said it last year, college football coaches are some of the most paranoid people in the world.
Yeah.
So
They just didn't want her hearing that they're going to crap on her brother all week.
Yeah, probably.
Marcel Reed can't do this. He trash.
Marcel Reed can't
Just
get
kidding.
it done.
He's not trash.
No, he's really good.
Yeah.
he is pretty good.
I like this dude a lot coming out of high school. I had to study him quite a bit because Monken loved him. Monken was all over this guy. He got pushed off of him because they went all in on Arch in that class. But this was going to be their dude. If they didn't take him, they were going to take the Vizina guy. And then it was like, hey, we got a chance at Arch. Do you, though? Yeah, we do. Push all chips in on Arch, and it ended up costing him this guy. But this dude's
He's
good,
fun.
man. He is really, really good. I believe, I could be mistaken. If my memory serves me correct, the comp inside the building was they thought he could be a compressed version, a condensed version of Justin Fields in college football.
It's not a bad condensed version.
If you watch what Texas A&M's doing with him, it's a lot of this guy's really good at throwing the football on the run. Really good at it. He's got one play where they roll him left off of an RPO, and they're throwing a glance 12 yards downfield. He's rolling left and just goes like that and throws the glance. It's sick. Absolutely sick. Love what Marcel Reed's going to be doing moving forward for Texas A&M. Are we good on that?
I think we are.
All right, let's do these week 6 superlatives. I like this. I like this a lot. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to take a stab at predicting what's going to be the best game, who's going to be the best player, what's going to be the biggest surprise, which game is going to be a.k.a. the Trash Bowl, and the Boulders prediction for the weekend. Which one do you want to start with? Best game?
Let's do best game.
All right, best game. I'm hoping Arkansas can score with Tennessee because I think it would be the funnest game available. If that game
High
turns
stakes,
into
too.
if that game turns into an explosive get off, I'm gonna be fiending for that one. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Tennessee's gonna handle that football game. I think defensively, they might actually put Taylor Green in the hospital. I think Michigan and Washington is going to be a 7-6 game with 2 minutes left in that football game. When we hit the 2-minute timeout, you're going to look up and you go, damn, are they playing baseball up there? Nope. They're playing
nauseous.
football 7-6. If you like that kind of nastiness, if you like that kind of misery, this is your football game. This is going to be a good one. However, my vote for best game of the weekend will be Ole Miss at South Carolina. Sneaky chance at a shootout here.
Very sneaky.
Sneaky.
Y'all are sleeping on this Rutgers-Nebraska game, I think.
Oh, I'll be tuning in, but not because
I
it's gonna
think
be a
this
good
game, it's a 4 o'clock kick. I think this game has potential to be one of the best games this entire week. Dylan Raiola, obviously, Jackson Holmes Jr., all that. Rutgers has been a very solid football team.
You went straight to Jackson Mahomes Jr., not Patrick?
Shit, I meant Patrick.
Yeah.
Got the names
That's
mixed up.
tough. That was a deep
His
shot.
brother is the Jackson Mahomes Jr., I think. or whatever. But either way.
Yeah, keep going.
Either way, this game has fourth quarter double OT written all over it. I'm excited for it. Rutgers showed a lot last week when they beat Washington. Did you watch the Washington game on Friday?
No, I definitely did. But I'm sitting here reading the chat trying to guess how old I am. We'll let them keep playing. Yeah, I did. Did we watch that Friday night on the way to Tuscaloosa?
Exciting matchup. I like
good.
Rutgers this season. I think they're going to give Nebraska problems.
By the way, Bill Belichick, Lil Man's, what's his name? Steve.
My man
Steve. My man Steve need to watch out. Fat don't get old. That's all I'm gonna say. Watch out.
The man bun's got to go too.
And I don't even care about that. Man's put on like 90 pounds in the last year. It was staggering. I almost didn't recognize him. It was. I was like worried for the guy when I see that much weight get put on. Quickly.
He's bulking.
Yes. Well, you know, not a lot of heat out there in Seattle.
You got to trust the process.
Yeah, not a lot of opportunities to get your sweat on.
Trust the bulk, bro.
I put 2 as my best game this weekend, partially because I was trying to make sure that I didn't overstep on anybody. But I'm going to give you both of them.
Let's go.
UNLV versus Syracuse. I'm a sucker for a good Friday night college football matchup.
Mm-hmm.
UNLV keeping their playoff hopes alive would be fun to watch. Syracuse, Fran Brown, Kyle McCord. I know that they lost to Stanford, a pretty bad Stanford football team. I think that was a really bad loss for Syracuse. But I think that could be a fun Friday night matchup. But the other one, the one on Saturday that I think is going to end up being the best matchup is Missouri versus Texas A&M, because Missouri, you basically can't lose. You can't lose this one. It feels like Texas A&M slowly, like being one of these good but not looking great football teams. They're just finding ways to win. They're doing it. They're doing it on the defensive side of the football. They're running the ball really efficiently. They might have found something in Marcel Reed. I think it's a fun matchup to look forward to, and I also think it's going to be a close football game. I think this is going to go into the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be a one-score football game, and I think it's going to be one that you really got to be glued to your TV to.
You already gave yours? Who's the best player this weekend?
Cade Klubnik.
Cade Klubnik.
Damn,
Cade
really?
Klubnik versus Florida State.
I had Cade Klubnik.
Same note?
I had Cade Klubnik.
Both of you guys picking Cade Klubnik.
Dude, I thought I was going way out.
I thought I did too. I was thinking no one's
going
going
to
to
call me a madman. I'm going to say Cade Klubnik, and I'm going to get pinned to the wall for this one. But yeah, I think Cade Klubnik, just because of what the matchup is, just because of what Florida State doesn't have and what Clemson has been able to do offensively. And Clemson is very much so obviously trying to get people to say, whoa, look at that Clemson offense. Mm-hmm. Look at Cade Klubnik. Look at all these points they're scoring. And they have the perfect matchups for the past 3 weeks for them to do so. Florida State being another one of these of, let's just go dog walk them. Let's go drag them in the mud some more. Let's absolutely murder them. Let's make Cade Klubnik rise up the Heisman boards. He's going to put up numbers, and Clemson is too.
Yeah, the public, I mean, I feel like the majority of the casual fan base public in college football, their last impression of Cade Klubnik was what he did against Georgia, which was not good at all. He's put up some really good numbers in these last 3 games he's played. The fact is, I think more people are going to be watching this Clemson-Florida State just because of the brand names of it. So he has a chance to really change the narrative around him for good.
I've already said it. Genty's going for 300 this weekend. I think it's too easy to pick him as the best player. However, I'm going to take Army quarterback. Thank you for your service. Bryson Daly versus
Ice
Tulsa.
Bath Man.
Oh,
absolutely.
That's a solid name.
Bryson
My
Daly's
man's got
getting 2
Bryson
shout-outs.
Daly giving it to you. My man Daly's got over 550 yards rushing this year, 6 rushing touchdowns. He's got over 350 yards passing right about now.
Dude, he
Turn me up.
3 tuds through the air right now for the
That's a
midshipmen.
record. Got to be a record.
Bro, he threw
That's program
6
record.
passes last week against Temple. That's
Over 5?
That's an Army record, dude.
He needs an ice bath on his shoulder.
That's what I'm saying, dude. He was my ice bath yesterday.
Wow,
2 shout-outs in 2 days for Bryson Daly. Shout-out.
I mean, earned.
Yeah,
Not given, earned.
Never.
That man wakes up, does PT, and then gives you 25 totes for $150 out of the option.
Beautiful campus, West Point.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were up there recently, weren't you?
I had a buddy who graduated from there.
The random Kirby disappeared for 3 days. Didn't know where he was. Came back, looked tired. What's going on? I just got back from New York. What were you doing up there? Well, I was at Army.
I went to go see the Prez, Commander-in-Chief, give a speech.
I'm 29. Okay, so there's that.
Oh.
I'll be 30 this November.
It's pretty cool.
We found out our birthdays only like 2 days apart.
You knew this.
Did I?
You knew this. We literally went. The first time I ever went on a road trip with you was to Kentucky in 2022. It was your birthday, and I told you, I said, mine's in 2 days.
Oh, buddy. I don't remember shit about that trip. Not a wink.
You know, we've also,
I remember it was cold, but I do not remember
We've also
Lexington
kind
the
of
first
known
time.
each other for like 3 years now. So like you would think that
That's on me.
eventually reoccurring years.
That's on me.
Yeah, birthdays close together.
That's on me.
I'm bad with birthdays too. I've never.
Oh, I'm not great with them, but if you're close to mine, I'll remember.
Damn. Biggest surprise this weekend?
I think people are going to be surprised when Missouri handles A&M on the road. I've been kind of ringing this bell a week. People are saying, Marcel Reed, A&M sneaky. It's a road environment. Missouri's not looking very good. I think Missouri's just more talented. I think there's a lot of kinks that Texas A&M has to work out, and I see Missouri winning this game by 2 scores. I think yesterday I said my score prediction was 31-17. I don't think anyone's really expecting Missouri to come out and handle business, and I expect them to do that. So,
Interesting. Will we be surprised if Minnesota gives USC a run this weekend? Would that be surprising? Not after last week, because
No,
they
not after
struggled with Wisconsin.
tale of two halves.
Yeah.
They've struggled the last 2 weeks.
Mm.
Yes and no.
Okay.
It would somewhat surprise me, but at the same time, it'd be like,
The problem
finally,
is,
USC's looking like how we expected them to look.
All right, so you might not think that will surprise
well, here's
you.
the thing. The
What's
problem
up?
is with USC is they are the most physical version of USC we've ever seen under Lincoln Riley. The problem is they are now in the Big Ten, which the physicality has gotten up so much. So I mean, even though they're the most this USC in the Pac-12 last year would have dominated. Maybe not because Oregon and Washington, but in years past, this version USC would have ran through everyone. The problem is you're in the Big Ten now, where everyone else is more physical. So there's just kind of a mid-tier team, in my opinion.
I know you guys are going to be surprised by this.
Let's hear it.
At the end of Saturday night, when my fighting Kenny Dillinghams get done with your Kansas Jayhawks, they're going to be 1-5.
They ain't my Jayhawks.
They were.
I stepped away.
I still-
Not early
I
enough.
got out
One
early.
of you had them in the playoff.
I think we both had him in the playoff.
No.
I think we both had him in the playoff.
Now you've gone
Definitely
too
did
far.
not. But
Definitely
yeah,
did.
I still believe. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, no.
no. That's a problem. You need to go to a meeting.
Dude, they're
That's a
going to get
problem.
they're going to
Hey,
get off
real
the
talk.
mat.
Real talk. Before the season, Google top 100 whatever college football coaches. Find me where Lance Leipold's on that list, because I bet he's really, really up there. Because a lot of people are like, man, guy wins 8 games a year at Kansas. Holy shit, this guy must be really, really good. 1-5 at the end of this weekend if he's not careful. Them fighting Kenny Dillinghams with the Amish Tote King are going to get him.
I don't give a damn.
All right, so I don't give a dime. Pepsi bottle, Coca-Cola glass.
Just
I don't give a
that is-
damn.
OG brain
is
rot
such a
right there. Oh my God, I haven't heard that. In
Man.
Oh, man.
That tickles a spot in my brain that feels just right. That's good stuff.
There's a very small demographic of our audience that will get that.
Oh, man.
And I feel like very few of them are in the chat right now.
Are you going to be surprised at the end of the weekend when Indiana is the first bowl-eligible Big Ten football team?
Cigaretti.
They play Northwestern this weekend. Going to get a dub. Be 6-0, already bowl-eligible.
Our boy Leipold's 17th.
17th.
Checks out.
In front of how many good coaches?
He's right behind Josh Heupel.
Love that.
Hypo.
Mike Gundy's behind him.
Oh, love that.
Signetti's behind him.
Hell yeah.
Chris Kleiman's behind him. Kirk Ferentz is behind him.
He going to drop like a stone at the end of this year on those rankings. We good on biggest surprise? My bad. Come on.
I got the biggest surprise of them all. Go make your
Are the
pupils
Braves
pop out
playing?
of your eye
Are
sockets.
the Braves playing right now?
Yeah. Wild card game. Game 2. Elimination game.
Chalked.
Florida's going to win a Power 4 football game.
Oh, that's right.
They're gonna beat
Conference-
UCF.
I don't think that's a
realignment.
surprise.
Conference realignment. You don't think that's a surprise?
I don't think. With judging by what UCF has put on the field, I mean,
Isn't UCF's favored? I believe.
doesn't matter.
They are.
dude.
Don't go
It took
too far into analysis here because this is my trash bowl. Spoiler alert. Spoiler
Keep it at that.
alert.
Surprise.
Yeah, it's my trash bowl for obvious reasons. You got any more biggest surprise? You already hit me with yours.
I hit you with my base.
All right, let's go on to the trash bowl. I got UCF at Florida. Boys, UCF has 3 wins on the season, one of which against a school with the acronym of UNH, one against a school with the acronym of SHSU, and have a 1-point win on the road against a really bad TCU team and a 27-point loss at home to a what seems to be okay Colorado football team. Do you know what UNH stands for?
University of New Hampshire.
Ding, ding, ding. How about SHSU?
I would S-H?
I know it, actually.
Sam Houston?
Sam Houston,
State.
baby.
Sam Houston State. They got them 48-7, I think, something like that. But either way, UCF, bad football team. We obviously know Florida, not a very good football team. I think these two are playing really sloppy, ugly football into a one-score game into the fourth. Give me the trash bowl.
I'm so disappointed that UCF has not at least been fun to watch.
Same.
I thought they were I didn't expect anything massive out of them. I didn't think they were going to go make a bid to win the Big 12 or anything. But I was like, man, Gus Malzahn, KJ Jefferson,
offense, yeah.
that sounds so much fun, and it just has been an absolute flop.
Is it just I don't want to talk about man's weight.
Ah.
I will say this. KJ Jefferson was a far superior athlete 2 years ago at Arkansas.
Yes.
I think we all can agree on that.
Absolutely.
And when that guy lost his legs, when he just became a really hard dude to tackle, he became end-of-career Ben Roethlisberger. And that's not great.
No. That is not great.
That's why they're reliant so hard on R.J. Harvey.
I think this is the definition of a toilet bowl because it's just a bunch of crap. Jacksonville State at Kennesaw State.
Hey,
no
who?
shade,
Hey.
all right? Y'all
Who do
calm
you?
down.
hey.
No hating.
Went there for
No
a
hating, all right? Record is what it is. We got 1-3 Jacksonville State.
Is that
0-4
still Ohio
Kennesaw
Valley
State.
Conference?
Sure.
No, I'm asking for
That was Conference-
general
that
football
was Conference
purposes.
USA.
Conference USA.
Okay, so they're out of the Ohio Valley.
Yeah.
All right, into Conference USA, as is Kennesaw
They're
State.
a building program. They're a sleeping giant. This is their first
Kennesaw
year
State?
in the FBS.
Yeah,
Kennesaw
could be.
State. Ugh.
Could
Don't
be.
be sleeping on them, man. I'm
They,
not sleeping on them, but I'm just saying this year, that ain't it.
They pulled the flippy floppy. They were telling recruits that they were going to switch to a spread option. They're still into the
Triple
wishbone.
option.
Yeah, they're still tripling it.
So yeah, not too many people going to be tuning in to the 7 p.m. Friday night
How dare
matchup
you.
versus
How
Jacksonville
dare
State.
you?
Kennesaw
I might
State.
take a peek just to see how the option's still working.
Come on now.
Just to see if the option's still out here
I
optioning.
want to take a peek so I can shit on some of my friends who go to KSU.
catch it straight.
It's a random thing to shit on.
Your
them
team's
for.
0-4. Let's crap on you some more.
Worst football career moment of my life against Kennesaw State.
I heard
you've
that.
told
Yeah,
me
you
this
told us the story.
I've told this story.
Got on Sports Center though.
The wrong way. Not
Not
top
top
10.
Got
10.
on there. Hey, you just put it on the resume. Was on Sports Center.
Sports Center top 10 in fine print, not. In parenthesis, not. Yeah, that was not fun.
You want my trash game?
Yeah, come on.
I don't mind a college football game with good defenses. I appreciate that. I don't mind the rock fight where neither offense can seem to get anything going. I don't like college football games where both offenses can't do shit because they're just bad. And that's what Michigan versus Washington is going to be. I understand it's a top 10 team going in there. I understand that it's two Power 4 matchups. They don't have terrible records, but that game is going to suck. That's my trash bowl.
Boldest prediction for the weekend. I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think I'm not going to predict it to happen because I think there's a large chance that it doesn't. But I do think there's a substantive chance that Iowa does rock fight the shit out of Ohio State. Like you look up third quarter and it's 17-9, and you're like, what in the hell's going on up there? Ohio State's sluggish. No. Iowa has made it the anti-Will Howard deep state. Stand up. Bold prediction.
I like it.
I think my bold prediction is gonna be that South Carolina does beat Ole Miss. The more and more I think about this football game, I think that the Gamecocks can do what is required to beat Ole Miss, but it's gonna boil down to one thing, and it's what I said yesterday during my predictions: is South Carolina has got to get rid of this issue of not protecting the football because it's costing them a great defense that is getting you extra possessions. South Carolina's defense is getting you like 3 extra possessions every single game, but against LSU, you also gifted them a few. You can't do that. You can't squander away opportunities. If South Carolina can fix that while also making Jackson Dart turn over the football, getting after him as well, I think that South Carolina can make this happen.
You would imagine as Lenore Sellers continues to play more and more football that he starts to see some of these things that are causing some of these turnovers. Yeah. He's put the ball on the turf, I think 3 times this year off corner blitz. Like the same thing in multiple games. Kentucky did it to him 2 plays in a row. They fired the corner and just drilled him, blew him up in the pocket. He fumbled both balls. Luckily for South Carolina so far this year, it seems like every bounce has gone their way. Yeah. From a fumble perspective, they've obviously had some bad luck with some referees, and they'll be the first ones to tell you that. But the ball bouncing has 100% gone their way this year. Any other bold predictions?
Yeah, I'll do it.
You sound really excited to do this.
Yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
it.
Well, I already know what's going to happen here. I'm going to get shit on. I think that Florida State's offense is going to have new life under Brock Glenn. I think that they are going to keep it within 10 against Clemson. Go ahead. That's what I thought.
Might just have to end the show off that one.
Hey, it is almost time. I didn't realize that.
Not happening. Ain't happening.
That's what
you could have at least faked the confidence
That's what
in that
bold predict. You know what?
You went into that
I'm
one
not
like,
going to lie to our audience and say like I firmly believe on that and just slamming my
you
fist
went into
on the
that like
table,
Brooks
but-
asked you to take the trash out. Yeah, I guess I'll do it. Florida State's going to keep it close.
It's a bold prediction. One that
By
I
the
don't
way,
believe
boys,
in.
You're married. You'll start learning this. Whenever your wife says these words, can you do me a favor? Just go ahead and get up, take the trash out. Just go ahead and do it. Don't even say yes, no. Just start moving because that's what she's asking you to do. I can guarantee you right now.
What if she doesn't ask you to take the trash out? Then you just
Well, then you
wasted
did
your
it for her
time.
anyways, and
Just
she's
wasted
like, "Oh
your
my
time,
God,
bro.
look how
I
good
try
my
and stay
husband
on
is."
top of that one.
And then you can come back and you be like, "What were you going to ask me, honey?" Let's take a
But the
peek.
problem is then she'll say, if you knew what I was going to ask you, why haven't you done it already?
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong women. See, you're talking to the wrong women. You talk to crazy women. See, I don't marry crazy women. I married a sane woman
Well,
who allows me to work 95 hours a week.
You can dabble in the crazy.
Yeah, you can dabble in it.
Just don't lock one down.
And remember the chart, the
Ah,
crazy hotness scale. All right, watch out.
Good
Got to be
reference there.
a linear trajectory there. Got to be a linear trajectory. Stay above that line.
great
All right.
reference.
Tremendous. Loading them down tonight. Let's take a peek. Taylor Green and Arkansas, they're getting premier treatment this week. They have been weekly bystanders, weekly second screeners. This week, primary box. Uno, right here. I'm going to watch all 4 quarters of it when I get done.
dang, so that's
With
not
my
even
work.
taking a peek. You moved up in the world.
Yeah, we
then.
took them off the Take a Peek. That was the news today in the Take a Peek segment. We're taking them off the Take a Peek. We are taking a peek at Rutgers and Nebraska, though.
This is
hard
where I'm going.
peak.
You know what? I might start watching the Scarlet Knights with a black and white film over my TV because watching Kyle Monangai is like watching 1990s, 1980s college football because they gonna give that Joker the rock and he gonna do some thudding and he gonna do some business. So I'm always watching Kyle Monangai.
I'm going to go with Bama Vandy, not because I think it's going to be a relatively close game, but I am interested to see both how Georgia and Alabama respond after the game they had. I also think that there's an avenue where Vandy is a much better team than people are giving them credit for, so it could be interesting. So I'll definitely be intermittently peeking at that.
Sleeping on the doors. How could you? Let's fire a football coach, shall we?
Oh boy,
Let's do it.
who we doing it?
Billy Napier loses to UCF this weekend. Embarrassingly, at home, gets fired.
Ooh. I think Dave Aranda's got potential to get fired this year.
Ooh.
Playing Iowa
This
State.
week?
Iowa State, 16. Iowa State's looked pretty good this year. If they could beat up on old Baylor, give them a 20-point dub, Dave Aranda might be on his way to being the top DC candidate.
Here's the only problem with my firing of Billy Napier. They don't have an offensive coordinator to make an interim head coach, and they damn sure ain't making Austin Armstrong the interim head coach. Their fan base will kill them. So I don't know if you can fire him.
That is interesting. I've never even thought about that. When you fire
Honestly,
a head coach,
a chess move by Napier, making sure that your staff is so bad that you don't have an immediate.
well, not even
replacement
that.
on it.
Making sure that if you do get fired, not only are you having to fill the void of a head coaching position, you're now having to fill the void of a play calling position. Like that's two. Like you would argue that the three most
Oh yeah,
important.
you're right. If you fired Napier right now, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you don't have an OC if you do that as well, not just a head coach. So
That's what I'm saying. But Mance was playing
chess
chess
move.
the whole time.
he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
I think Matt Brown's gonna have to take out their retirement fund.
Oh, dude, I love Mac Brown.
They're not firing that guy.
Do-
He gets to retire. It's one of those. Hey,
I said
either-
take out their retirement fund, and
yeah,
he told
either,
us. He told
either
his
you
team-
retire or you're fired, big guy.
Yeah, I think it might end up being one of those because, and I think it's just kind of setting up this way
I think
because you
yeah.
got drilled by James Madison. You blew a 20-0 lead against Duke last week. Now you got Pittsburgh this week, and it's at home. So if Pittsburgh comes in there and embarrasses you, that's 3 weeks in a row that look really, really bad on you.
Maybe a Charlton Warren interim head coach stint right there. I'm pretty sure he's their defensive backs coach.
This also screams the type of game that Mac Brown wins and dances in the locker room with the team after.
God, that's so true.
Like I could see that happening just as much as I could see them telling him to retire.
That's a good point. Hey, we got a whole nother hour coming up right now, and it is indeed our local hour. We finna talk that dog. Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? Really like that. You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another hour here on the Film Guy Network. We got a loaded local hour for you guys. How can Georgia avoid what happened to them last year against Auburn, avoiding a fourth quarter sweater that needs a comeback? We're going to give them three. Give me three things you want to see this weekend. Is this rivalry dying? That was on the show notes today. We're going to see what that means. Predicting the schedule. We're going to map it out, give you our predictions on this football game, as well as predicting the rest of the schedule for the University of Georgia. Just wins and losses. Not going full score predictions on those just yet. But first and foremost, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Better. Better now offers college football props. Enter more than or less than key stats on college football players. You can play in 23 states, including the fine state of Georgia. Better is now matching first-time deposits, as you can see in the corner of our screen, with the promo code Brooks up to $250 over there again. That's promo code Brooks. All right, Jonathan, put the phone up on the screen. Let's get into a Better play right now. We are 4-1 on the season on Better plays. We're up 165 in the account. I'm guaranteed to take the under right now. Ooh, 174 is tough, though, on Peyton Thorne. We're going to hit it anyways. Let's take the under there. All right, and let's go over to Carson Beck. We're going to play the overs on this. 277's a lot in a football game that I think they're going to handle. Let's go. Let's see what this Trevor Etienne is. 87.5's a lot. 87.5 is a lot of yards. Let's take the under on Trevor Etienne. Let's view the entry. Let's perfect play that sucker. Let's put a dub on it as we have every single week. And let's place that entry over there on Better. Again, using promo code Brooks over there. That's how you get that first-time deposit match up to $250 over there with our friends at Better. How do you like those plays this week, boys?
Very nice.
I think the Trevor Etienne one is safe for right now.
Yeah.
Just until they can prove. Not prove that they can run the ball, but
prove that they can throw it.
Yes.
And scare you
Teams
enough
have to respect it.
And lighten the box. And one thing I will say, golly, that is an audio glitch for me. One thing I will say, just say it, dude. Auburn's defensive line is always going to be stout. Mm-hmm. Always. And this is something that I learned last week or 2 weeks ago going to Birmingham. It was like, oh, you can throw a rock at 300-pound defensive lineman that can play the run. Now, you're not always going to have Devin Browns on your roster, but you're always going to have big physical dudes that can hold the line of scrimmage. So it's always going to be relatively difficult to run the football against Auburn historically.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it's felt like for the last 5-10 years, especially during the Kirby Smart era. Georgia's always seemed to not necessarily struggle at times. There have been obviously very successful games, but there have been moments where it's like, dang, they can't get a push at all in the interior offensive line right now. So.
Marion asked if Better is available in South Carolina. Yes, South Carolina and North Carolina. So says my map that you guys tell me I need a new sheet of.
Just laminate it, bro. My goodness.
I got a laminator here in Mom's basement. You've seen it laying around somewhere.
You have $5,000 worth plus of camera work.
Hey,
assuming that you have a laminator isn't that far-fetched. Let's be fair.
First of all, let's not undershoot it.
I said plus 5,000. 5,000 plus. I didn't want to undershoot anything above. It's at least 5,000.
Okay.
It'd get used one time.
The laminator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it'd get broke or whatever.
And the cameras get used
every day.
5 hours a day.
A lot.
A lot. So, yeah. Somebody told me, Brooks, I'm only one man. I can't watch all the content.
Oh, I had someone DMing me about that too this week.
That's a you problem, buddy.
We said it's a good problem.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have.
Too much content for you to watch. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, we're just giving everybody a little something. Everybody a little something that they want. Should we do these film notes, guys?
Yes.
All right, let's do these. I broke down Auburn's offense today, which is flopping like a wet fish. And I don't know why. They're playing them this weekend. Are you guys not up for this matchup? Is that what's going on? Do I need to challenge your fandom right now? Do I need to look at you and say you're being complacent? Is that what I need to do? So, yeah, that's what I just did. You're being complacent. Show up. Watch the film studies. You got a big-time SEC football game coming up this weekend that you've played every single year for 130 years. Show up for the film studies. There's a lot of good information there, and we broke it down. I'm going to give you the rundown right here. We know Auburn has a turnover problem. It's partly because of their quarterback, but it's also due in large part, in my opinion, to the system that they are running. We've given you the Hugh Freeze turnover stats. We've talked about them ad nauseum, and honestly, I'm honestly a little disappointed in myself. I told you this today. I'm disappointed in myself. It took 11 years to find this data. It took 11 years. It took Bo Wallace coming out here telling everyone that this guy's shit and you should look at everybody's interception rates. Look at this. Oh, my God, it's a problem. So I finally looked at it, and it took me a while to recognize why. And the reason why is because all of these RPOs, right? All of these RPOs are set to maximize everything based off the pre-snap look. All right, that's what RPOs are trying to do. They're trying to look at leverage and attack it based off what the picture looks like pre-snap and reading things post-snap. So where you're weak and where you can be out-leveraged pre-snap, they're going to attack that. The only problem with that, and the only problem with running 10, 15, 20 RPOs in a singular football game is that eventually pictures start to change. What do I mean by that? Let's go to the board. All right. Always have to say, for ESPN's purposes, this is a picture. This is not an actual video. All right, so let's take a look at this. This was not an interception by Peyton Thorne. However, he does hit my boy Billy Bowman right square in the face mask on what would have been an interception. All right, so here's the concept that they've got going here. You got inside zone working to the right. So all of these guys are blocking in the blocking scheme here. Okay, we're reading this picture right here in the box in terms of whether or not we're giving or whether or not we're pulling this ball. That is all reading off of this apex defender, okay? If he gets a little grabby, we're going to throw what looks to be an open slant right here, all right? That's all good. And as the ball is snapped, we're going to put the mesh point here, and we're going to lock our eyes as a quarterback on this linebacker. Now, here's the problem. Go to 4 right quick. Go to 4, just so they don't see this, all right? I don't want to get in trouble with copyright rules. All right, pre-snap, that safety was standing where he was. Now, don't come over here yet. Don't come over here yet. Don't come over here yet. Too far. All right, now, post-snap. Come back to me. All right, post-snap. This corner, pre-snap, was standing right here, and this safety was standing right here. And all they did was they looked at each other and they went like this, and all they told themselves is, we're going to invert our coverage right now. You're going to take the deep third. I'm going to squat. And now what looked like a wide open slant pre-snap isn't there anymore. This safety is going to step up underneath it, and this ball is going to hit him right in the face. And here's the other problem, okay? This quarterback, all he was reading, I showed you, that apex defender. That apex defender's already in the hole, okay? So yeah, as a quarterback, I pulled the ball because the picture showed me I should pull the ball. But while I'm looking at that guy, those safeties are moving. The coverage is rotating, all right? They've disguised what they're doing and messed up my picture. And ultimately, now I have a turnover-worthy throw as a quarterback. And as a quarterback, I feel like I did the right thing. I feel like I looked at the picture. I saw, ooh, the slant's going to be available. Now let's read the apex defender. All right, I got my eyes on the apex defender. He crashed, so I'm going to pull it and throw this slant. Where the hell did that safety come from? How did he get over there? This is happening constantly for Auburn on tape. And on top of that, it doesn't help that Peyton Thorne obviously isn't seeing the field. The other thing about this offense, even their shots, guys, are predicated on post-snap clarity. Okay, meaning if the middle of the field's closed or if the middle field's open, I'm going to change what I'm doing. All right, I'm a slot receiver. I've got an option route. If the nickel that's over me is playing outside leverage, I'm going to bump up inside. All right, ooh, I got a go route, but I didn't get on top of the corner. So now I'm going to squat it. I got a back shoulder fade. Now, this is great when it works. When it works, you're never in a wrong play because everything has changed based off what the defense is doing. Oh, they're vulnerable here, so we're going to attack this. Well, what happens when all of a sudden we got to play a freshman in Cam Coleman, who's immensely talented? We got to play a freshman in Cam Coleman. Well, all right, Cam Coleman goes on a go ball. He thinks the middle of the field is open, so he bends the go ball into the middle of the field. Well, the veteran quarterback sees that the middle of the field is indeed now closed post-snap, so he tries to throw it vertical, and it's an incompletion. Or worse, ends up into an interception. This is happening constantly. And by the way, history and the data shows you this happens constantly for Hugh Freeze offenses.
Is there any way to combat this?
Yeah, there is.
Besides not running RPOs as much.
That's it. You have to be able to, and this is what's really confusing to me about this guy, because there are moments, and this is in the film notes as well, there are moments with this guy as a coordinator where he is one of the more creative, he is one of the more better play designers that we have in college football. And then midway through the game, it's like he runs out of creative juice. Or midway through the week, it's like he runs out of creative game planning juice, or doesn't have enough bare bones in his system to not have to go right back to relying on these RPOs in the midst of a football game.
I think the killer for me was not only are you making it hard on your quarterback, but you're making your quarterback do extreme things to make reads, like having his back to the main read, peeking out of the corner of his eye. And this was the killer for me was – you have a right-handed quarterback, so you're going to make him give the handoff and then have to turn around to throw the football. Where if you're going to make him peek out of the corner of his eye, just have him where he's throw side already, and he doesn't have to completely do a turnaround. But you're making it even harder on your quarterback than it needs to be anyways.
I think they bumped him into the pistol in order to remove some of these tendencies, right? To know which side the RPO is coming from. So now we're going to make him do it from pistol. But you're right. There are moments in lots of moments in this Auburn offense where Peyton Thorne's opening up to his left and Hugh Freeze is asking him to read the corner all the way back to his right. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to do. So, yeah, I left that film study feeling really almost bad for Peyton Thorne. Now, he's not playing well. There's no doubts about that. But I think this offense is really, really hard to execute on a consistent basis. And 95% of that, I feel like 95% of quarterbacks will be pressed in this system. They will feel like they're sped up. They will feel like they are one bad errant throw away from interceptions. They're one misread or one diagnosis in the back end from missing this completely.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting to watch and just kind of, from an outsider's perspective, watching Auburn's offense operate, even I can just be like, wow, this looks really hard. This doesn't make any sense, and there's no need to do it. And I feel like that's what something that and that's kind of what I was getting at yesterday when we were talking about Auburn and Hugh Freeze was last year going into the Georgia game. I feel like Hugh Freeze did a good job of just kind of keeping things simple while also getting creative. Like, it wasn't doing drastic things with Peyton Thorne to get them in a position to win that football game. It was, hey, we're going to use your leg set. We're going to drop a couple plays, and you hit enough explosives to where you were able to make it a 4-quarter football game. Where this year, I feel like you're doing way too much.
Now, it could also be that Hugh Freeze is not going to do any of this stuff come Georgia time because he wants to, quote, limit possessions and do all the things that made last season's game so successful against Georgia. But, yeah, I can't see that working against the Georgia defense.
What was really confusing to me was watching that film against Oklahoma and watching every offensive snap and feeling like every single play clock was under 10 seconds. And then I'm like, oh, they must be shortening the game. And then I asked you to run how many snaps they took in that football game. You told me they took almost 80.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
And they have the third lowest time of possession in the country. It makes no sense.
No sense. They're taking north of 75 snaps a game, and they have the lowest time of possession in the country.
Third lowest.
Third lowest. I don't know how the two coincide. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's one of the more complexing or more confusing offenses I've studied in a while. The only note I have on the rest of the offense, Jaquez Hunter is a beast.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really good football player. Haven't looked at their defense at all. I'm sure I'll get to it. Maybe. No promises. We've been doing a lot of work this week.
Yeah.
Kirby, you put it in the notes. How can Georgia avoid what happened last year?
Yeah, last year was your near disaster game. I think we can all talk about that. You were 14.5-point favorites coming in. You ended up winning that game 27-20. Trailed for the majority of it. Never held a lead till Brock Bowers scored the last touchdown. So kind of how do you avoid having a repeat of last season, especially now that you're coming off after a loss? Do you want me to give you my answers or that?
What was that?
You want me to give you my answers?
Come on.
So first one is you got to make your layups. Make the easy throws. Don't have any drop deep balls. Complete all your passes that you should complete. Tight window throws, I get it. Next one is no mental mistakes on defense. You don't need a bust assignment. You don't need someone filling the wrong gap and letting Peyton freaking Thorne go for 76 yards on the ground. And the last one is do not turn the ball over. The Achilles heel of any offense, and Georgia's offenses in particular, when it comes to losses or close games that they shouldn't be in, is turnovers. It happened last year against Vanderbilt, happened last year against Arkansas, happened this year against Bama. When Georgia turns the ball over sporadically, they are usually in closer games, and they even have a chance of losing. So Obviously, turnovers is kind of a given one, but it's especially relevant for Georgia. That's my 3 takeaways for how you avoid this.
All right. I expect Hugh Freeze to have something dialed up for this defense. Now, here's the problem for Hugh. When I look at Georgia on tape, there's nothing that you can replicate that Georgia defensively has struggled with to this point in the season. Whereas last year, I felt like he had a little bit more of a larger sample size to understand, okay, maybe if I involve quarterback run here, maybe if I run counter, and maybe if I get into this certain look, I can get a positive play. That's how that 67-yard, explosive happened. And then they had multiple different sets off of that run that Peyton Thorne had that created problems for Georgia defensively. He is creative. He knows how to dial things up, which, again, makes it really, really confusing why he's so dependent upon RPOs. But I do think Georgia has to survive that. But I don't know what he does. I don't know what he looks at and says, this is what I think Georgia struggles with. But he'll find something. He'll find something in his game plan where he thinks this is going to give me the most success today. If you can't stop it, they're gonna get off to what they did last year. The whole game plan was predicated off of they don't think Peyton Thorne's going to run. Watch this. Peyton Thorne's finna run. Peyton Thorne finna tote that thing today.
I think the biggest thing, if you want to keep it from happening this weekend, is if Auburn does throw one of these first punches, one of these early punches in the football game, respond immediately and just capture back the momentum completely. And just let your crowd get back into it, kind of retake over this football game. It can't be one of these situations where Auburn drives down the football field, gets a quick score, and then the offense takes 2 more drives or even to respond with points, even if it's a field goal. You can't have 2 stall-outs on offense, and you have to just recapture the momentum and don't let Auburn keep delivering punches while you just kind of keep taking them and withstanding them until it's like second half, we're Georgia. We'll just go win this football game now.
And here's the good news for Georgia fans listening today in the droves that they do. The last 2 times this team's come to Georgia, you've executed really, really well early on in the football game. You were up 21-3 in 2022. You're up 10-0 in 2020. So keep that crowd up until you can send them home early. Absolutely. I think that's the key here. We got a super chat from my man Jeremiah. It says, stopping by to show some love. Been busy helping with recovery since Friday. Love you guys. Keep doing what you do. Quote, and not only this, but we also celebrate in our tribulations, knowing that tribulation brings about perseverance. Tribulation brings about perseverance. I know it's a Bible verse, and I know Jeremiah didn't just hit me with that off the top of his head. It might go on the board. I like that. Tribulation brings about perseverance. Absolutely.
I like it.
Love that. Appreciate the super appreciate the super chat. I am rattled. I don't know why I keep doing that.
Stadium
it's like Jalen Kimber. Like Jalen Kimber?
Yeah.
What's going on with
weird. That was so weird.
2 film studies.
2 different film studies. Multiple times.
You don't watch film studies, so you don't know what we're talking about.
I watched the Monday one.
Okay, yeah.
Then you should have caught it.
Yeah, I keep calling Dalen Everett Jalen Kimber.
I did see that.
You know what it is?
You see the 6 and the similar body type.
6, similar body type, similar skin complexion with the helmet on. Also, similar drip. They both wear the white sleeve, and they it's just messing with my head. But there has to be one of those every year. Last 4 years, it's been Javon Ballard for some reason.
Blaschke.
Hey, it is pronounced Blaschke.
Blaschke.
I don't know. Eesh. It just sounds funny. You probably not saying you were wrong, but it just sounds funny.
Yeah, got to execute early and often in this football game. Got to. Kirby, you asked it in the chat. You asked it in the show sheet. Is this rivalry dead? Or is it dying? Is that how you pronounce it?
It's definitely dying with younger generations because the Deep South stole this rivalry. It used to mean something like, this is one of the bigger games in your week. Not even back in my day. Back in my parents' day. Here's a statistic for you that kind of lets you know. If you are a senior at UGA right now, 22 years old, probably 21, 22, you've been alive for just 5 Auburn victories over Georgia. And you probably only remember 3 of them because 2 of them were in 2002 and 2003 when you were barely alive. So now think about this. If you were a senior at UGA in 2002 or 2003, about the time this year's senior class was born, you watched Auburn beat Georgia 13 times in that time span from when you were born to senior year of college. So it's really hard to hate these teams when you're consistently kicking their ass every year. And yes, Auburn gets you every now and then. It's been 7 years. You haven't lost to them since 2017. But the reality is, and you'd have to assume this, if Auburn, by some miracle, beats Georgia this year, you'd have to assume that we go back to the status quo in 2025. Georgia handles Auburn and so on for the next few years. So it's really hard. And it's the similar problems you're seeing with Georgia Tech and honestly Florida now the past few years, where when you dominate a team so much and if you win so consistently, the rivalry loses shine. And people just lose hate. I have a lot of friends that go to Auburn. It's not a tension. It's not a hard topic for that. I just don't think that this rivalry has as much meaning as it once did.
That's fair. You told me the 22 years they've seen this team lose 3 times.
Yeah.
Remember one of them?
Seen team lose 5, remember 3.
They haven't lost since 2017, right?
Correct.
The last time they lost at home.
Last time they lost at home was long before. I think it's been 20 years since. I think it was 2003.
2000 and
I'm gonna go 2003.
Does the chat get it before Wikipedia? Let's see here. The last time they lost at home. I think you have to go all the way back to 2005.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was 2005.
2005, Auburn, number 15, Auburn beat Georgia 31-30 at home. That would have been the year after Jason Campbell?
Mm-hmm.
Who in the hell was playing quarterback for Auburn?
I think that's when they still had the running backs.
And this would have been DJ Shockley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he might have been hurt that game.
I'm going to have to let Shock know. I'm going to have to let Shock know on Saturday when I see him. Hey, last time these guys got a dub off of you.
Would that have been Shock? I don't think that would have been Shock.
Shock was 2005.
Yeah, Shock was 2005.
But I think he was injured that game because there was a period.
I know he was injured in the Florida game.
Who knows then? But no, back to my point, like, it's been that long. You have to go back 20 years to even see the last time they beat you at home. So it's very hard to say that this rivalry is fierce and it's back and forth and it's two teams that utterly hate each other. I don't think you have that as much anymore.
I'm going to push back on this. As long as Columbus and LaGrange have relatively decent high school football, this matters. This matters. Columbus high school football is legit. All right, Phoenix City high school football is legit. That area of the state right there where 85 runs into Alabama, down there from Troup County all the way to Phoenix City on 85. That is really, really good football that nobody talks about. By the way, a lot of big humans, a lot of really big humans come from that area of the state and that area of those two states where it's really important. And that's the border state right there. That's the border battle for Georgia. They've got a couple of these, right? They've got to battle Clemson and South Carolina to an extent on their northeastern border. They have to battle Florida State and Florida on their southern borders, and they certainly have to battle Auburn on that southwestern border, all the way down to Bainbridge, honestly. Like, it's not far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get kind of frustrated when we talk about these rivalries dying because
Cook them up.
I don't want to cook Kirby up but I kind of will in a sense because anytime I think about rivalries for Georgia, there's always moments that you can just think back to. Like if you ever go to an Auburn football game, they play Georgia. They're playing Nick Fairley highlights. They're playing those. They're showing Aaron Murray getting his skull beat in by Nick Fairley, and they're doing dirty stuff to him. And then also they're going to show the prayer of Jordan Hare. Those two moments alone, those two football games alone, that should reignite your hatred for Auburn every single time. Because they took something from you.
I wish we were a bigger network when Aaron Murray told that Auburn story on our network. You guys weren't involved at that point. That was just me and Aaron interviewing him. And he told a story about David Andrews in that Nick Fairley game.
Ben Jones, excuse me.
I always get those two mixed up.
Oh, when he ripped the
ripped the linebacker's dread off and then brought it back to the huddle. And Murray said he had a fractured rib, he had a punctured lung. And Ben hands him the dread and goes, "Here you go, Murray. You can hang that on your fan." He didn't. Murray was like, "Bro, I don't have time for that. I can barely breathe." And he said Ben Jones put it in his pants in the middle of the huddle, put a dude's dread in his pants. And then as soon as he got home, he said he tied it to his to the string for his fan, and it would sit there on his fan for years.
God, that's psychotic,
great
and
stuff.
disgusting, and amazing.
He's a Neanderthal. That's what he is.
That is Neanderthal-like behavior. But no, even to go back to your point, Jay, well, Nick Fairley was 15 years ago.
I don't care.
And I get that. I get that you don't care, but the younger generation that was 2 years old when it happened, If Auburn doesn't start winning games like this and you don't start having those moments, this rivalry will become more and more relevant. What's the one moment you think of that makes you just hate Georgia Tech so much? Because if you ask 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds, they can tell you in the 90s when they beat your ass
I know what
a
it
lot.
should be. 2016, they tore the hedges up.
That's fine.
2016, tore the grass up, everything.
Again, and I get that. That's absolutely a moment that hates, but it's 1 out of 10 years. Like, there have not been enough of these moments to reinvigorate the hatred that I think makes it.
So people just ain't being raised right.
That's fine. I don't
People ain't being
dispute that.
It is decided people are not being raised right.
I agree. I will agree with that.
Go dig in the
sentiment.
archives.
Y'all remember when
Y'all
we
need to do
bought?
your research.
Y'all remember when we bought that for the shtick that we did that one time?
A couple times.
Couple times.
I thought it was really cool, actually.
Yeah. We might bring it back.
Good shtick.
Should we give them 3?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Give me 3. 3 things you want to see this weekend. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
I want to see Georgia force Auburn to respect the deep ball because I wrote an article. Sorry. That's why I said I wanted to go first.
I said it better. I said it in a more football form.
Good for you.
Got to force a too high look, baby. Get that safety out the box. But yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I just think that, and I wrote an article saying how I think this game could potentially impact future opponents because if you make Auburn have to respect the deep ball and you put that on tape, that would be the second half of the Alabama game, and now it'd be the entirety of the Auburn game. I think if you put those things on tape, then future opponents, they might start respecting the deep ball early on in the football game, and you might be able to open up the run game as well. So that's my first one. Number 2, I want to see someone in the wide receiver group start to emerge. I don't need you to start being like potential candidate for top 5 wide receiver in the country, but just need someone that is going to be the guy that you can throw over to them at any point, and they're going to catch it. They're going to deliver. They're going to always execute. You need one of these guys. You need an old reliable. You need one of these top dogs in your wide receiver room. Last but not least, I want to see some havoc from the defense. I think this is a great opportunity this weekend with all the RPOs, with how Auburn has been struggling on offense, with Peyton Thorne's propensity to throw into some ill-advised windows on this football field. I would like to see not only force some turnovers, but also just get into the backfield a little bit, see the defensive line get some havoc going, and just be the swarming defense that we've known Georgia to be.
Quote, I swear if Sydney Sweeney is an Auburn fan, then I'm setting my eyes on Anna Kendrick. I got my tickets for the long way round.
Anna Kendrick.
Wow.
That's a crazy take.
Hey, I've seen that one.
And I sure would like some sweet company.
Would you like a cup?
Yep. Just wanted to do that.
That itched
Pitch Perfect is a banger.
That's a good movie.
Pitch Perfect is a great movie. What?
That movie sucks, dude.
What'd you say?
I said it.
I might make you sit outside.
For someone that likes
music.
music, that seems like your type of movie.
No way, dude. No.
That's the worst take you've had on this show.
Give
me your 3.
I'll die on that hill.
You're dead.
First thing I want to see. I want to see.
You prepared to do the show together tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
You saying I get the day off?
If that's what you want, buddy.
You might get the next few weeks.
Well, I did not expect you two to be this invigorated by a Pitch Perfect take. That's crazy.
This guy doesn't know movies.
I do know movies, and I know Pitch Perfect is not a good one. One thing I want to see 15 first quarter points. I don't care how you do it. I don't care what plays you have to do. I don't care if it's a bomb over the top. I don't care if Trevor Etienne runs for 100 yards on a touchdown, even though that wouldn't be good for fantasy purposes. I just want to see this offense get off on a quick start, explode out the gate. We haven't seen that against Power 4 teams at all this year. So that's something that needs to happen moving forward because you're going to face more teams that are a lot better than Auburn. They're on the same par as Alabama. So you need to have offensive explosions in the first half. You can't continuously play catch-up. Next thing I want to see is I want to stop seeing injuries on the offensive or defensive line. I think that's kind of a cliche take here, but you've gotten really banged up there in the last few weeks, and the games you have coming down the slate, you need to get those guys healthy. And then finally, I don't want to see stars playing in the fourth quarter. This needs to be a get in, get out, beat the shit out of Auburn type game and not have to worry about things in the fourth quarter. The longer that this team has starters on the field, has guys that are making impacts, I don't know why you keep looking at me like
You'll
that.
see here in a second. Go ahead.
But no, the longer that your key players are in, the more likely they are to be worn down. You have Mississippi State, then it's Texas. You need to let these guys rest as much as you can.
I ate my twin in the womb. Give me three. Three things you want to see this weekend.
You waited
Three.
30 seconds to give that.
Number 3, I want to see you force a too-high look. Jonathan talked about it. I want to see you be able to throw the football so much that Auburn's like, all right, enough. We've given up enough explosives. We got to start taking bodies out of the box and allowing Georgia to run the football explosively. Turnovers, lots of them. I want to see it. If this team's this bad at it, I want to see you be able to produce them. I want to see you be able to disguise coverages enough to where you can create some of these off of these RPOs. I also think that with how repetitive he can be in schemes, I think that you have an opportunity for Schumann to be out here in his bag, right? A long time since I've heard Kirby Smart come to the podium and say, yeah, we gave him a nugget this week. You know what I mean? We gave him a little nug out here, told him what was going down. I want to see some of that this Saturday from this defense because, again, I do think Auburn can be a bit repetitive in their scheme. Number 1, I want to see Carson ripping tight windows. That's what I want to see. I don't love the idea that I'm asking for wide receivers not to create space, but I don't want to see any turn downs. That's what I'm more about right here. I do not want to see any turn downs from Carson Beck. Ooh, a little bit of space, rip that ball, let it loose. Those are my 3. Hey, for the collective, let's give them 3. All right, map it out plus predictions. Big time to be here on the show right now. We're going to lay it out. Who wants to start? Who wants to give their first map it out and prediction?
All right, I'll go first. I think that, like I said, I want to see this offense.
Y'all remember that time when I would cut him off every time he would talk?
Yeah, I'm glad that bit's over.
Go ahead.
This offense has a Power 4 problem. It's been 4 games now. You have yet to score more than 10 points against a single Power 4 team in the first half of a game. That cannot be the case this time. I think Georgia knows that. I think Kirby Smart knows that. I think the entire offensive staff knows that. I think they are going to do everything they can to start this game off hot. They're going to draw up winners in the first 1 to 2 drives. Whether they convert on those winners is yet to be determined. I would like to venture and say that they will. Execution has probably been hammered at practice this week. Georgia's going to jump out to a very quick 10-0, 14-0 start. A quick turnover by Peyton Thorne somewhere along the way. It's going to give Georgia the opportunity to score again. I think this is a 3-score game at halftime. And I think Georgia just coasts at that point. I don't even want to look at the chat.
And the kids are getting shots taken at it right now. Our chat's off rails today. That's okay. What do you got for me? Did you give me a final score prediction?
I will go 38-7.
38-7. That's relatively close to what I got going on. What do you got?
I don't think Georgia's going to get off to a blazing hot start, but I do think that they're going to score a touchdown on the first drive. So I think it's going to be enough to where you can kind of take a sigh of relief saying, okay, yeah, finally went out, got a first quarter touchdown against a Power 4 opponent. Offense looked good. And then I think from that point on, it's going to be Georgia's defense making some plays for the offense, getting them some good field position on a couple turnovers. I think Carson Beck is going to execute the deep ball, and the offense overall is going to have a better execution day as well on Saturday. And things are going to look a lot better than what they did in the first half of the Alabama game. And I think that this offense is going to be looking good going into this next matchup against Mississippi State. I think that Trevor Etienne, the running backs, are going to have some things open up in the second half, and I think that you are going to get to see some reserves in the second half of this football game. I think Georgia's going to win big. I think that Auburn might get a late touchdown, which is why I'm landing on the final score prediction of Georgia 40, Auburn 17.
I think if Auburn gets a late, I think they're more likely to score early in this football game than late. Maybe a garbage time touchdown, but the idea that they're going to grind one out like most teams do, like Kentucky's notorious for this.
Sure.
At the end of the game, we're going on a 16-play, convert some 4th downs. We're going to score because, Mark Stoops has got the points. But either way, here's how I see it laying out. I do expect Auburn to have something for you, at least 1 or 2 drives. All right, and the moment they feel like there's an inkling of offensive momentum, expect shots. Expect balls to be thrown deep down on you. Expect deep passes to be thrown by this Auburn offense at some point. And I think there are some scoring drives for this Auburn offense, one designed by Hugh and then an explosive that ends up in the red zone at some point. But there's no reason, in my opinion, to believe at this point in the season that this is the football game that Auburn's going to fix all their turnover worries. Of all of the times to, quote, get it right and protect the ball, I don't think this is going to be the one. On the road against a very veteran Georgia defensive backfield particularly. Those safeties and their ability to manipulate, disguise, jump routes, be where they're supposed to be. I think it's a big bounce-back game for Malachi Starks, may get his first turnover of the year. Georgia beats Auburn at home historically. They do so badly. That's exactly what's going to happen on Saturday. Give me Georgia 38, Auburn 14. Damn, we forgot to do the Deep South's oldest rivalry, the promo clip. Man, we're not going to get cut by Georgia's social team.
Do it right now and then just add it at the start of the clip.
All right, I know the Georgia social team's watching right now, so let's do this. How should we do this? Hey! Nah, probably shouldn't open up with a hey.
Come right now.
Maybe it's just not my thing. Maybe it's just not my thing. Maybe I'm not going to be that guy, you know?
Yeah, no.
Q rating's never going to be 100%, never going to be clean enough and cliche enough to be on those intros. Definitely have the voice for it, but yeah, not professionally clean enough to be out here writing down the
I couldn't
know I'm
ad-lib.
getting
I couldn't
clipped.
ad-lib. I feel like I could write up a good one.
Come on, let's see it.
I could not ad-lib it.
Oh, you said I could
I'll do
not
it. I'll do
ad-lib
it tomorrow. I got
All right,
it.
write me one tomorrow. We'll see if we can get it clipped and put on that you know, what do they call it? The hype video?
Well, I know the guy in the media team. That's already shot and done.
Oh, buddy, they're watching right now. I can almost guarantee it.
Shout out my boy Alex.
Dude, you outing folks, man. Don't do that.
He's not on the.
Don't do that.
It's not outing.
It's a little bit.
I simply shout out a friend who I grew up with. Went to the same county high school. We're fine. He knew my dad.
All right, let's predict the rest of the schedule. I said it last night. I'm picking Georgia to win the rest of their season. I've got them winning out. I've got them going 11-1 in the regular season. I see a rematch with Alabama in the SEC championship game. Unfortunately, right now, I'm picking Alabama to win that game. That means Georgia, I'm predicting right now, October 2nd, Georgia will be the 5th seed. At that point, they will win completely out. I got Georgia winning the national title 15-2.
Wow.
15
when you
and
said
2.
you had them 15-2, I thought I knew what you were doing, but it wasn't that.
Yep, playing all 17 games. He's going to do it the hard way. Do it the old Boston Celtics route. Going 7. Going to play on our deathbed the rest of the year.
Love it. Going into the season, I had Georgia going 11-1, but I thought they were going to drop it to Texas. I didn't think that this program was going to lose 2 games this year. I thought they were going to beat Alabama. I just kind of thought going into that Texas environment, Texas fans were going to get to see something that they've never seen before, like one of those matchups with the SEC team in their own home stadium. I know they had Alabama there, but I think that this one would bring a unique one. So I just thought that was going to be a lot to handle, especially knowing that you had 3 tough road games. I thought Texas might be the one that gets you. But I think I'm going to change. I don't think that Georgia's going to lose another game the rest of the stretch. That also has to do with the fact of seeing what Texas is this season, seeing what Ole Miss is this season, and also knowing that Tennessee home game is at the end of the season. So I think that Georgia is going to clean sweep the rest of the way. But I don't think they're going to win the SEC championship game either. I don't think they will. I think they dropped that one. I think they are the 5 seed. I don't know if I'm ready to give a championship prediction though. I didn't go that far.
Yeah, I didn't even touch.
Well, I've got plenty of time to change that. So
yeah,
I was saying I didn't even touch playoff predictions because that's so predictable and unpredictable, and even the SEC championship's pretty unpredictable there. But no, I do agree with you guys. I think that this was a very big wake up call for Georgia. I think that they got exposed in a lot of areas that need a lot of work. And I think that the players on this roster were made aware of this in a way that you haven't had to have been made aware of this before. You lost a regular season game. You broke the streak. Something that's been going on for nearly 4 years now is gone, and it's your fault. So you have to live up to that, and you have to get right. I don't think Auburn's a challenge. Mississippi State, Florida, those games I don't think are enough of a challenge. Texas is the one where it's like on the road, Sark offense, always is giving Kirby Smart defenses fits. That's where I'm a little worried. I still think Georgia figures out a way to pull that one out simply because schemes don't beat this roster, players do, and I trust a Jalen Murrow like having a one of those games as opposed to a Quinn Ewers or an Arch Manning. As good as they are, I don't think that they're the type of talent to beat this Georgia roster. Tennessee, home field advantage. I know Nico's really good. I know that they're going to be an explosive offense. They run the ball well. Kirby Smart defenses have typically had an answer for that.
I think I've got 2 new rules. I will not pick Georgia to beat Alabama until they do it. I will not pick Tennessee to beat Georgia until they do it.
That's fair.
Those are going to be my new 2 rules.
That's fair.
No matter what. I'll do all the analysis in the world. I'll give it to you. But from now on, just know, until one of those things changes, I'm picking against it. So, yeah, I'm with you on the beating Tennessee thing, despite the fact that Tennessee fans are probably listening to this going, clip it.
Homer.
Guy sucks.
This is where I think it gets interesting, though, because if you're playing Texas in the SEC championship, I think Texas wins that game. I think if you play Texas in the SEC championship, I think Texas wins that game. Regardless, you're a playoff team, and I'm not even going to try to predict the playoff. If you play Bama in the SEC championship, Georgia wins that game. And then, obviously,
you're going to play them twice. Hard to beat them twice. Really.
Yeah, and it really is. And I know Kalen DeBoer did it twice against Oregon last year. You don't see it that often. You really don't. So I think if you play Bama again, you beat them. And if you beat Texas, then play them again, Texas gets you in the second game. And then God knows what happens in the third if there's a playoff game.
What's a recipe? I'm ad-libbing here. What's a recipe for Auburn winning Saturday night or Saturday afternoon?
Stay away from the basics of you got to turn Georgia over.
Yeah, have to. Stay away from that.
Stay
away from turnovers as a discussion.
Okay.
Try.
There has to be at least 2 to 3, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened, plays where a linebacker misses his gap and we get a 76-yard run, or Dalen Everett or a corner gets a ball tipped and it bounces miraculously.
Which now brings us to the discussion. You talk about a linebacker missing a gap. Smile Mondon going to be out of this football game. Certainly plays a role considering how much they run the football and how well they run the football, and the abilities for a guy like Smile to cloud throwing windows off those RPOs. This is a loss for sure.
Absolutely. I think it would require Cam Coleman having the best game of it. It's a very short-lived career so far. He's still a true freshman, so not a whole lot to go off of. But being this 5-star wide receiver that he was projected to be and having the game of his life, I think it would require that. I think it would require not only that, but him to have multiple explosives in this game. 80-yard touchdown, 75-yard touchdown, whatever you want it to be.
That's where I was going. I mean, there is certainly a path. If you simulate this game 100 times, there's 2 or 3 simulations where Auburn out-explosives Georgia to a rate to where they win this football game.
Sure.
This is one of the most heavily efficient offenses with regards to yardage gain. They just can't stop turning the ball over.
And there's also, I mean, this is going to sound like a freaking broken record at this point, but the big E word, execution. If Georgia comes out and they try to throw haymakers and you can't catch your deep balls, or Carson Beck makes an overthrow, and all of a sudden you've got 3 and outs to start your drive, and you're limping into the first half up, 10-3, and it's like, what's going on here again? That will weigh on you. That momentum will probably start to shift in Auburn's favor, and you absolutely, anything goes from there on out. So there's a couple of avenues for Georgia to lose this game, but they all require things going disastrously wrong.
I got a stat for you you were talking about Auburn moves the football really well, and they do. Yeah. They're averaging 7.6 yards per play, which ranks 8th in the country right now. They are one of only 3 teams in the country right now to be averaging over 7 yards per play and have a losing record. It's them, Florida, and South Alabama.
Oh, man, Billy's going to get an OC job based off that stat.
Yeah.
Good for
offense
him.
moving, just ain't winning.
Hey, offense is working. I feel like we're good on offense. Coach, you're the head coach. You're kind of responsible for the whole team. Just a thought.
No doubt.
Where are we at?
Just talking about what has to go wrong for Georgia to lose this game.
They can certainly shorten the game, but they don't try to do this. We've already talked about it. They want to take snaps. They want to take a lot of them. They're averaging about 75 per game.
You have to get the Georgia crowd against Georgia. And that, they're getting booed coming off the field at halftime, and that is pretty hard to do, but it's also not that hard to do because one bad interception from Beck, you put up 7 points in the first half, the boo birds are coming out. Auburn's going to feel that. You're going to get that momentum going. And again, this is all hypothetical. This is all.
Yeah, this is the route that is narrow that Auburn has to a potential victory. Good question here from the chat from Josh Armstrong, one of our more recent and more dedicated followers and listeners. Who takes his spot on the roster? Brooks, Justin Williams, Chris Cole, Raylan Wilson, Damon Wilson, Gabe Harris. You missed all of the names that I was going with. Jalen Walker immediately steps in, and then after that, Raylan Wilson.
Yeah.
So you'll see C.J. Allen and Jalen to start the football game, I would imagine, and then you'll see Raylan rotated in for Jalen.
Did we get any what's going on with that, or is that?
I gotta see. I'm gonna give it to Patreon because I haven't got it 100% confirmed, and I probably will after the show.
Okay. That's all I needed.
I don't want to give that one out publicly right now.
I mean, it's an ambiguous thing. So.
Very much so. Yeah. And I don't like doing the injury report on national we are national. I don't like doing it on national television, if you will.
That's fine. I was just wondering if there was a specific thing.
Yeah, no. I'm told there is. We'll see if we can get it confirmed 100% after the show. 15-2, winning out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The reason I feel that they beat Texas and they certainly beat Ole Miss at this point, I said it the other day, schemes don't beat Georgia, players do.
I agree with that. And again, I mean, this Ole Miss, like the shine behind Ole Miss was that roster's dangerous. That could be a top 10 team when you're traveling in there. I don't know if that holds up now. And plus, we saw it against the Kentucky game. That home field advantage is not as daunting as we thought it would be.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, that was Kentucky at noon. So that's going to be a whole lot different than what a night game versus potentially a top 3 team at that point in the season. But yeah, you're right. It's not one of these walk into Bryant-Denny Stadium or Neyland Stadium or Death Valley. It's not one of those. So it's not as difficult. But yeah, I agree. I think that it was too far in the season, too late in the season for Ole Miss, it felt like, for that to be the game where they could get Georgia. I think if it was maybe earlier in the year, there's a better shot that Ole Miss is able to do it.
If this game was where the Alabama game was, this would be a much bigger game. So that's what I think.
I want to remind you guys, and I haven't done a good enough job of this, we are going to be live at Creature Comforts Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Entry is free. Okay, so if you're going to be in town for the Auburn matchup this weekend, come see us. We're going to do about a 30-minute show. We'll hang out for about 30 minutes before, about 10, 15, 20 minutes afterwards. So come kick it with the boys. We'll be up there at Creature Comforts in Athens, live, doors open at 11 o'clock. So come see us over there. Love doing that with those guys. They do a tremendous job. I don't like doing remote shows because technically they're really, really hard on us when we have to bring our own equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Creature is a turnkey operation. We show up, we sit down, we talk, we schmooze with the folks, and we get up out of there. It's tremendous.
Simple.
And we really love and appreciate those guys for selecting this show to be that. They got a tremendous amount of options in this network alone, right, in the Georgia space alone, and they've selectively chosen us. So we really greatly appreciate that, and we would appreciate if you guys show up Saturday in droves over there at Creature Comforts. All right, I've been whipping your ass on nostalgic tape as of late, and you think you got one today, huh?
I feel pretty confident in this one. Do you want me to give you any hints at all?
Maybe, if I need one. I don't think I will.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't think he will.
Oh, my God, this is old.
Yeah.
Not even HD.
All right, offense or defense?
Defense.
All right, let's take a look. Is that John Jenkins?
It is not. Not that old.
Good Lord. Wearing 78 is going to really mess with me here. Is this a highly ranked, impactful football player, or did you dig a roster and you said not that old?
Not that old.
Not as old as you were thinking initially. And this was a impactful player.
This guy played under Kirby Smart. I'll tell you that.
I think you got me here, boys.
Kind of a big what if, maybe went to the league too early.
He wore 78 at Georgia, too, right?
He did. Had that big hit in the natty.
Yeah. Trenton Thompson?
Yep.
There it is.
Trenton Thompson. All right, it's Trenton Thompson.
Number 1 player in the country this year.
Is this Savannah Christian? Who is this? Who do you play for?
I'm not sure.
It looks small schooly.
Let me look it up.
I could be wrong.
He was at the time.
Yeah, this would be a football player that I did not cover. That looks like Brookstone High School that they're playing right there.
He played at Westover High School in Albany.
Wow. That is South Georgia. Huh.
I believe at the time he was Georgia's highest recruit ever.
Yeah, wasn't this the number 1 player in America?
Yes, he
Yeah.
was.
I don't see that on tape.
Really?
I don't.
I thought he had some good twitch.
I see big, physical, long. I don't see elite athlete. Not on high school tape.
Well, this is also.
But he showed it in flashes at Georgia. That was what was weird.
Yeah,
Why
it was
didn't this
spurts.
work out? I wasn't covering. Why didn't this work out?
This was a classic case, in my opinion, of a guy who never really had to strain to be a great football player. Was always kind of just born that way. Might have necessarily not had to try to do that as Georgia as much. Junior year came around. It was kind of, all right, I'm going to go take my money now. Didn't really pan out in the NFL. Spent a couple of years in the
He went undrafted, didn't he?
Yeah.
So.
Didn't test very well.
Yeah, he also had some injury problems, if I remember correctly.
A big what if, because there's always the what if of a guy when he leaves junior year and then doesn't succeed. But
Isaac Nada.
right,
Evander Holyfield's son.
Yeah.
Jake Fromm.
Fromm had to go. I don't.
People do the what if Fromm. Man, that
What if you got Monken? Yeah.
That 2020 season was a disaster. What if we had Jake Fromm?
I think it was just the 2020 season alone.
Yeah.
Do people not remember y'all booed him off the field?
Oh, I remember.
I know his mama did.
Kentucky game.
I know his family did. I know he did. I think that was part of the reason why that was I'm out of here. Y'all don't even love me.
That 2019 season definitely brought out the worst in a lot of people.
I remember being on my honeymoon during the Kentucky game and thinking, guys, it's pissing cats and dogs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Lynn Bowden is playing quarterback.
Yeah,
It was cold too.
Cold? I mean, just raining like
It was
hell.
so cold.
Disgusting game.
Like, what do y'all think's going to happen? You think they're going to score 45 today?
You had this guy named DeAndre Swift. Why not just let him go carry you to?
He had like $150 in that game,
He
didn't
did.
he?
He had a couple of big plays. I think he scored all 3 touchdowns.
The OC was horrible that year.
That was
Let's not.
Yeah, no.
Hell of a receivers coach. Hell of a
And
receivers coach.
I mean, yeah. I think that showed up too earlier in some of those earlier years. He didn't have exactly dudes, but you had some guys turn into some dudes, some memorable players.
Yeah, I mean, virtually all of your 2021 wide receiver core was because of him.
Yeah.
So, no complaints there.
Not at all.
Yes, he's getting the book out.
Trivia?
Nothing gets
The
me.
encyclopedia of
Nothing gets
Georgia.
me more excited than when he pulls that book out.
I got to go to the table of contents and remember where the last times are. So ad lib for me right
If
here.
you had
boys.
if you had a laminator, you could laminate the pages. That
I'm going to punch you in the laminated throat.
how do
know
you
if that
even
made much
how do you
sense,
even
but-
laminate a throat?
It didn't. UGA record book. Should we go individual records today? Do y'all want to do that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Yes.
Let's do this. All right. Average gain per rush.
Yards per game.
No, yards per carry.
Is there a minimum?
This is yards per carry
Kendall
for a
Milton.
career.
Kendall Milton.
He is 7th on the list at 6.19.
Is there
For a career? It's got
for
to
a
be
career.
Herschel, right?
It is not.
is there a minimum?
Herschel got way too many carries to be on this
yeah,
list. He's
that's
not even in the top 10.
Is there a minimum carries?
No minimum carries here.
Oh.
Is it a running back?
Yeah.
I was gonna go Hines Ward.
Yeah, it's a running back.
Can we get an era?
Recent.
Ooh. Recent.
Guys, this should be easy.
Swift. Chubb. Oh,
DeAndre Swift. 6.56 yards per carry. Average gain per rush.
Good
Right
God.
Kendall was a sneaky one, man, because he averaged.
Yeah.
He had a good average.
Yeah, good average. Average gain per rush in a season. This
Average
is
gain
nuts.
per rush in a season.
This is nuts. A tandem atop of this.
Oh.
So it's someone who had just took the top off, a bunch of explosive plays.
In one particular season. 7.87 yards per rush.
7 per 8 yards.
Is
per
it
rush.
is it Chubb and Sony?
It is Chubb and Sony. Sony at number 1 overall in 2017 at 7.87 yards per rush. Nick Chubb's freshman year,
It's like 9 something.
2004, averaged 7.06 yards per carry.
They were
The
Good
dude
God.
walked into college and was averaging 7 yards a total. That's
insane.
crazy. Let's see here. Ooh, most completions in a game.
Most completions in the game. That's Eric Zier, I think.
Incorrect. Actually, yes, correct. Tied with the lead. He threw 36 attempts twice. Number 1 tied with 36 as well. Corey Phillips,
Oh, yeah.
Georgia Tech in 2000.
That's when he threw like 65 times.
Yeah, he threw 62 attempts. I think he also had 7 interceptions in that football game.
It's pretty good.
Not a bad day.
Pretty
Not
good.
Bad.
Not a bad day.
day.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, wow. Who is second all time for most games gaining 200 yards or more? Because you know who number 1 is.
It's got to be Todd Gurley.
No, it's Herschel. It's Herschel by a mile. But number 2 is
That was my guess.
no,
Todd Gurley's
it's
number
not
2.
Todd Gurley.
200.
Chubb had a couple of these.
He did. He had
Chubb-
exactly 3 of these. Herschel
Louisville,
had 9.
Louisville, North Carolina, and
Herschel had 9 football games where he rushed for more than 200 yards.
Wow.
I think he only played like 30.
that's
A third of the
insane.
time he's towed it for 200 yards. Holy shit, that guy was good, huh?
Insane.
An insane observation right there from yours truly. Touchdowns responsible for in a singular game. The record is 6. Who is it?
Stetson Bennett against you.
Stetson Bennett is tied. Who's the other one?
Oh, shit.
I know Murray had 5 in the first half against Kentucky, but he also got injured in that game. So
What era is this?
This would be Mark Richt era.
Mark Richt era, 6 touchdowns responsible for. Is it Shockley?
It is Shockley. Shockley had 6 touchdowns against Boise State, 5 through the air, 1 rushing.
That up, baby.
That makes sense.
That boy DJ Shockley had himself a game. Average gain per play for a season.
Like we're picking the season, or
Yeah, and this includes quarterbacks, by the way. It probably just spoiled that.
average game per play per
For the season.
Is it 2022?
It is not 2022. This is a singular player, not the team.
Oh, singular player.
Singular player. Every time this player either threw or ran, this is what they averaged every time they were involved.
Well, if it's not that season, then I would have to go with Aaron Murray.
I would go
What are
Aaron
Murray's
Murray in
years?
2012.
Aaron Murray is number 2 at 8.6 yards per play in 2012. Number 1.
They were the most explosive football team that year, I believe.
Number 1 on this list. I can't believe it's this year of Stetson. It's Stetson's 2021 season.
Really?
Yeah, 9.09 yards per play.
That makes sense. I mean, the sample small is a lot.
I was about
less.
to say he wasn't throwing it as much, I guess, then. So
Sample size smaller. When you threw it, you were getting chunk plays.
Total offense in a game.
Ooh, wasn't this recent?
I almost want to say it was against Florida State.
There is nobody from within 2015 on this list.
Wow.
Is this players or?
This is players. Total offense by a singular player in a game. It's all quarterbacks, by the way.
Since 2015. Okay.
Good Lord. This would be an incredible stat if he didn't get sacked for minus 17 yards in this football game. Eric Zaire put up 527 yards of total offense against Southern Miss in 1993, which meant it must have been a sweater because you're playing Southern Miss and your quarterback's going for 544 yards passing. 544 yards passing had negative 17 yards rushing.
That's pretty insane.
Let's see here. Most all-purpose yards in a game.
Most all-purpose yards in the game. That's got to be Todd Gurley against Clemson 2013.
2014, but yeah, you're right.
2014, you're right.
You're right. It is against
was the
Clemson. He
year.
had 198 yards rushing, negative 5 yards receiving, and a 100-yard kickoff return.
Insane.
Did one of those kickoff returns get called back for a hold in that football
That
game?
was the Auburn game. That was the game he came back
from suspension.
That was nuts.
towards it, dude.
That was nuts.
I've never been more hype.
People say it's the loudest the stadium's ever been.
Who's got the career record for most points scored?
Is it a kicker?
It's Rodrigo.
It is.
It's got to be
Rodrigo.
Hot Rod,
It's
dude.
the Rex Specs. Most touchdowns scored in a game.
Most touchdowns scored in a game.
Tavares King.
What a pool. I don't know about
Incorrect. Not even on the top 3 list. here.
Really?
Yeah. Most touchdowns scored in the game. The record is 5, by the way.
that. Most touchdowns scored in, is that passing included or?
Yeah.
So it's Stetson.
No, it's
He threw for 5.
No, I'm sorry. It doesn't say quarterbacks. This is position players.
Okay, so 5.
5's the record.
5's the record.
You're not going to get either of these.
Okay.
Give me a hint.
Robert Edwards versus South Carolina in 95. And a blast from the past. The chat's got it. Wayshawn Ely.
Oh, shit.
Wayshawn Ely versus Kentucky in 2010 had 5 tuds.
Atta baby.
That boy Washawn.
What do you think
Oh, wait.
Wayshawn Ely's doing right now? Think he's watching the Film Guy Network?
Probably.
I hope
should
he
be.
is.
He should be. A lot of people are.
If he's a real dog, he is.
A lot of people are.
You know. Hey, I appreciate you guys for being here tonight for real. I also, like I started the show tonight with, I'm really, really grateful. Every time we get a new subscriber, you make me feel better about saying no to some of these bigger companies. Makes me feel a lot safer about my decisions. Appreciate you for being here. I love you. Bye.